Howdy, partner. Howdy,
Howdy.
partner. Welcome back to the Something Cafe, or what I like to say today, the Something Saloon. Today we've got on a special guest today, a guest that is a little unknowing of my country past and my country history. I might not look like it, I might be built like a donut hole, and I might sing Spanish music, but little does he know that I've been up on the John Deere for hours when I was a little kid, alright? Today we got on Trevor Knox, and that's Knox with a K, so you know who he is. He's a locally known country singer, soon going to Nashville, rightfully so. He's not doing Florida rap. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
How we doing? I'm Trevor Knox, like he said, little local here country singer. Been singing here for about 2 years. Met my buddy Celestino here and figured I'd come out for y'all.
So, tell me, right, just before we started recording, we had a little conversation about kind of like what the main genres are here in Florida. And correct me if I'm wrong, one of those genres is not country, right?
No, it's really not.
Okay, so did you were you born and raised here?
No, I was born just north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Tell me all about that. Where you're from? Why did you come here? And where you are going?
Yeah, so I was born in Butler County, Pennsylvania. It's up there about an hour and a half north of Pittsburgh. And there's just there's not much. I went to a cool school called Carn City. We joke and call it Corn City to my buddies here in Florida. There ain't nothing up there but cornfields. It's not bad. Small town. Glad to grow up there. Liked it a lot. Came down here for a job and then fell in love with music. Started playing some tunes.
What was the job?
Oh, I'm a software engineer.
I don't for as long as I've known him, and it wasn't like an active friendship, but it was like every time we saw each other, it was at a gig or it was at an open mic. The relationship was always there. So I guess that question never came up. Holy shit! All right, yeah. For some reason, I thought you were just another music student coming down here. But okay, what kind of? Now I'm not too familiar with the sciences of like software. What's your specialty?
So I do primarily modeling and simulations. So
Wow.
anytime you think of like a fighter jet or a tank, I'm the guy that has to model that in software so we can train troops and so forth.
That is, I think you'll agree with me when I say this. Like, there's a lot of like dev software comp sci jobs that just scream the forehead tattoo virgin. I think that is the one and the only exception of probably the coolest one. Like, I think every other one is kind of hard to get by, kind of hard to bring up on the first date. Mm-hmm. You rolled the dice perfectly, my friend. You bring up the word tanks, bro, dude. My dress is off. All right, that is awesome. That is super cool. So, you moved down here for that, and then so. I know you are moving to Nashville. Are you going to be able to keep that job? Are you doing it remote? Is there an office there?
Yeah, so I work for a different company now.
Okay, got you.
It's completely remote.
Okay.
They're like, wherever you want to go, just don't quit, please.
Solid.
So I've got it made, man. I can't
Wow.
really complain.
No, super. Like, awesome. And it's similar. It's similar stuff.
Yeah, I work on radar now.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pretend like I know what that means. So when I'm going fishing in like a deep lake and I hit the little fish radar in the bottom right corner, there's a little, powered by Trevor Knox. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Close.
it's pretty similar. That's
Close.
probably something called sonar, but it's real similar.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So super, super cool. Now we had just kind of really slightly touched on the genres of Florida, but we didn't really actually say what it was. And I think me and Trevor kind of knocked it down to two main genres right before we started recording. Now, if you aren't familiar with Florida or like southern Atlanta, southern Georgia, then you might not be aware of this, but it is. I don't even like what kind of rap would you call it? Because I would just call it Florida rap, but not a lot of people know what that means.
It's definitely its own unique genre, and it's kind of hard to explain.
Right?
It's not, your drill rap or your trap rap. It's something really unique.
It's not New York, it's certainly not West Coast. It is truly Georgia, Florida rap. And both of us are people. I mean, you said you've been here in Florida for what, like 2 or something years?
About 2 years.
Okay,
yeah.
same. Yeah. So me and him are both from a small country town. Like I'm from Illinois, from a town with like a population of like 1,200 or something. So coming down here, I think we both learned this on our own that Florida is actually it's divided in three sections. Mm-hmm. So it goes from top, middle, bottom. The North Florida is actually the South. North Florida is as south as you can get. Middle Florida is all tourist attractions, Disney, Universal, and then South Florida is Little Cuba, Little Puerto Rico. Because when you think of when you think of the South of America, you think of like Illinois maybe, but that's just, or like Texas, but that's just the term, and that's just like that's like the terminology of it. Because if you really want to go as south as you can, like you're bumping Bad Bunny in the car, and that's just not the case. Like the southest spot is the northest spot. Mm-hmm. So I would assume you grew up with like country music and given where you're from and whatnot. Go list some of your inspirations in the past, some inspirations now, and who you think about when you do write music.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. First concert I ever went to was a Toby Keith concert. Real big. Yeah, I think I was 5, going by. Crazy good party, I'm 5 and girls are flashing their titties at the cars if we're trying to drive in a park. So.
As God intended.
That was my first intro to country music. There was Toby Keith.
It was a hell of an intro, man.
If that don't make you love country music, nothing.
Dude, I probably would have turned into a country singer too, man. That's the type of thing that convert a vegan, brother.
Shoot. You got that, and then I was real big with music with my dad. My dad always loved music. He bought me my first guitar. Two of the big inspos I got directly from him would be Leonard Skinner. I sing Skinner to this day. Yeah. I love Skinner. That's southern rock blended in with some good country tunes. That's really what I try to emulate in my own music. And then we got kind of a curveball was Eric Clapton, actually. Seriously, my dad came home one day and he sat me down with a guitar. And my first one he bought me was a Sunburst, just like Leonard Skinner. The second one, we were listening to Eric Clapton. I got real big into it, and he comes home with a black and white Fender, just like Clapton.
So awesome. Cliffs of Dover is not by Eric Clapton, is it?
It is not.
The moment I finished the song title, I thought that's a different Eric, right?
Yeah.
Eric Johnson?
I forget his name. Yeah.
I'll be damned. That was an awesome take by your host here.
You're not the first person to tell me that. They're like, Cliffs of Dover, and I'm like, that ain't Eric.
Dude, no, but I'm not into rock. I really don't like. I'm not a fan of rock. There is some rock that I can get behind. There is some country I can get behind. I have gone to a Toby Keith concert. but it was the free one that Dan Newland put on for the entire Central Florida. And then Dan Newland, he's like an attorney, whatever. I sent him an Instagram DM thinking that like he's so rich that like why would he respond? It was a really weird DM. Like it was right after the concert, and I was like, "Thank you so much for the Toby Keith concert. I am in love with you and would love to take you for the next one." And he just sent like a total dad like response, like a thumbs up emoji and like a cool exclamation point. And I was showing my friends like, holy crap, Dan Newland just responded to me. Only one. Lars has currently found his first opponent, Trevor's glasses. Lars. And then speaking of rock, Trevor asked me if I named Lars after Metallica. No, for one, rock isn't my thing, but two, he is like the main reason why the music industry is as ruthless as it is when it comes to DMCA and copyright laws. Like he isn't just the main reason, like he is the reason. I don't know how much you know about all of those legal battles, but like it was because of Napster. Yeah. And Lars from Metallica, man, he kind of screwed us all over when he was already rich. So funny, when you're thinking about that, so Metallica did like a sponsored Twitch stream on Twitch like a couple of years ago. Like, dude, it was like I think it was during COVID when a bunch of artists and bands were trying to do things virtually, and they did this sponsored Twitch stream where they were playing every single one of their songs like just in a full live, and their stream got muted for copyright. and that is probably the most ironic instance of what Lars created like 30 years ago. Yeah. And just like 2 or 3 years ago, they were going live on Twitch and they got silenced themselves because of all the crap that Lars put the industry through back then. It comes back and bites him in the ass, dude. I mean, if that isn't a storybook ending, I don't know what is. But no, Lars is not named after that man. He's named after my affinity towards small, cute animals with perhaps names that a man with 2 tins of Copenhagen, one in their left pocket, and then one, surprisingly, in the heel of their boot. And I find that adorable. I am getting a second cat, and I believe I will be naming him Larry. So I can have Lars and Larry.
That's a good name.
Very, very excited about that. But yeah, man. And he goes after your glasses again. But yeah, man. So I think that's a pretty good intro, man. I think we covered a lot of ground. I think we can get into some of the more current things. So how much are you on social media?
0.
Okay.
That's my one.
Are you on there enough to kind of know what's going on currently in the music scene, like big things?
Somewhat, yeah.
Do you know what I'm alluding to?
What you getting at, buddy?
Drake.
Oh, with the
and Kendrick Lamar.
The rap beef right now.
It is the coolest thing that's happened in the music industry in a long time. I mean, and that sentiment is not one that only I share, but I would also I will also admit that that might be a little voyeuristic, but when you're that rich and that famous, that's kind of the point, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I really enjoy people bashing on other people and making their lives harder, but at the same time, Drake's just gonna have to eat out of one less silver spoon at dinner after he puts his nightcap on. It is super, super. I mean, it's incredible. There's a point to this, but just for some background, I don't know the full story, but Kendrick had released a song with Future and Metro Boomin called "Like That," and I haven't listened to it, but it was, I think Kendrick kind of threw in a couple lines making fun of Drake because Drake is kind of a laughing stock to a lot of people, casual listeners, super listeners, people in the industry. People kind of make fun of him the same way that they make fun of Logic. You know, and there's like my favorite meme is the memes of like Drake's the kind of guy that when he's getting ready for a fight, he like pulls his overalls up and like does this with his arms and stuff like that, like super cartoony because he is kind of a weird dude. So Kendrick drops that. Drake drops a diss track in response. All of these tracks are like good. Like they're all good. But what people are really paying attention to is like, what are they saying? Like, what are the disses, right? So Drake drops one called Push Ups, and then Kendrick drops one called Euphoria, which just, I mean, I've never seen a man get laid out harder than that. And then that same day, that same night, Drake drops another one called, what is it? Family Matters. In one of Kendrick's first albums.
Okay.
Well, one of his first ones, Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah.
It is a photo of a van, right? The music video of the Family Matters track for Drake that he dropped the night that Kendrick dropped his diss track. The music video starts out with that same van on the back of like a car transporting truck, and the first 30 seconds is like this video of watching this truck deliver the van across on a highway, pulls into a junkyard, puts it into one of the car recyclers, and that same van from Kendrick's album cover getting smashed. I don't like Drake. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, though. I mean, that is some rich person targeted hate right there. Yeah. Like, not even just like a salty Instagram post. Like, I'm gonna find the same van that was on the cover art of the album that made him famous 20 years ago, and I'm gonna destroy it. And he drops that, and then within like 2 hours, Kendrick drops one last song. I believe this was yesterday, called like 16:16, kind of like if it was like military time. And what gave me goosebumps, and listen, I don't even really like listening to both of their music. Like it's not my genre, but it gave me goosebumps because after all of this, people are choosing sides. People in the industry are choosing sides. People in the industry are tagging one of them and saying you have to stop, back out, blah blah blah. In the beginning of this new track from Kendrick goes into how Drake has a secret daughter that no one's known about and he's kept hidden from the world. And Kendrick said, "You did this to yourself," and goes into how, why, and where his little girl is now. And it gave me goosebumps, absolute goosebumps. Drake hasn't responded yet because I don't know how you could. Oof. I mean, it's crazy, and I bring this all up because as I've been watching that and knowing I was going to have you on as a guest. I'm very prepared for a one-word answer, but I want to know: is there anything like that? Maybe not to that extent, but is there anything like that beef that is seen in the country music scene, or has been seen in the past?
Somewhat.
Okay, tell me, brother.
I'll go on. I think so. There's a song on TikTok right now that's real big. It's called "Chicken in Black." It's by Johnny Cash. You familiar with it?
I'm sure if I heard it, I would know it.
It's the "Stick 'Em Up" song where he gets a brain transplant.
Okay, yep.
So Johnny goes and he writes that song and he releases it, and people think that it was a joke. And the thought behind that was that he wanted off his label.
Okay.
He wrote this just ridiculous song, funny as shit, like most Johnny Cash songs are. And it wasn't. It was a serious song that he wrote. He released it, and they go to shoot this music video. And they shoot the music video, and Johnny is in not the Man in Black. He's in yellow spandex like a goddamn chicken.
Amen.
Complete chicken.
Okay.
He releases it, and then one of his good buddies goes on. I think it was Johnny Carson at the time. I can't remember where he said it, but I think it was Waylon. Waylon makes fun of him for being in the chicken shoot.
So the host makes fun.
No. Waylon. No. Waylon Jennings. I believe it was Waylon.
So Waylon went on to Carson.
I believe so.
And okay, gotcha.
It's either reporter or Carson. I can't really remember. Doesn't really matter. Either way, he roasts the shit out of Johnny Cash.
For sure.
He's like, I don't know about all that spandex, them chicken suits. Johnny gets this, watches it, hears it, somehow gets back to him, and he gets pissed the fuck off.
For sure.
And he pulls all of it. He goes to the record label and says, pull it all down now.
Okay.
So that's why that song was like a hidden gem for a long time.
Yeah.
Because he made them pull the music video.
Yeah.
They pulled it off the shelves. Everything. It's gone. It disappears.
Okay.
It's still out there. You can still buy the albums. And it comes back because somebody on TikTok had found it. And it was all because of one little comment that Johnny Cash, after millions of dollars have been sent, said, fuck all of this, pull it off, I'm embarrassed. Because Johnny Cash is Johnny Cash.
Okay.
That being said, there's some other beefs just like that. And I'm trying to remember, people give a lot of shit.
So interesting.
A lot of these, like, I call them the snap clap country stars.
Okay.
And the best thing that comes to mind for that now is the Applebee's song. I don't know if you remember that.
Again, if I hear it, probably.
Yeah.
Now, wait. When you say snap clap, is it like they're sitting down trying to make a new song and they're like, "What? Like, how do we start this?" And they're like really boring, kind of like that, or what?
You're not that far off.
Yeah.
So it's whenever modern pop country got really involved with hip hop. But not in the good way. Like, I'll defend Jelly Roll at least. Jelly Roll is my man.
Yeah.
That's done tastefully.
But, man.
But it's some of that shit's pretty bad. Like, here's a good
Absolutely.
example. Zach Bryan is quoted by saying, imagine listening to Tyler Childers and then hearing the Applebee's song and going, nah, I want the Applebee's song. And he just roasts that guy. Well, that guy comes out. He makes a rebuttal song to Zach Bryan.
That's awesome.
It's fucking horrible.
That's awesome.
I'll stand behind that comment. It's horrible.
Oh man. So this person that Zach Bryan kind of poked at, like, said, screw it. I'm gonna go all in and make a really bad song on purpose.
No.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Like he's like, why are you acting so green, or something like that. And that was it. It was like a Dr. Seuss book.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I want to go back to the Johnny Cash. So Johnny Cash is dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay, when did the chicken stuff happen?
I can't. I off the top of my head, I don't know that.
I mean, like,
I want to say 80s or 90s.
Sure. Okay, so like 80s, 90s. So Johnny Cash. Now, I don't know a whole lot about Johnny Cash. I do really like his songs. I think he's a great writer.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a great vocalist. But I'm not super pleased by hearing an artist or someone of creative integrity take something down only after one comment. Right? Was there a reason to it more than just, that person said something mean and now I'm all embarrassed?
So if I got to speculate, which is what I'm going to do here,
Mm-hmm.
You remember the Highwaymen?
Familiar.
So Johnny was a member of the Highwaymen with Waylon.
Okay, there you go.
So
gotcha.
So I believe what was going on there was that he really respected Waylon's opinion, and that when a really close friend comes to you and says, "Hey man, that shit's embarrassing," it probably got under his skin pretty hard.
That hurts you. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure that hurts you. Okay. I mean, okay, so it definitely makes more sense, but even still, I feel like taking something down because of that. I think you are totally valid to be hurt by it and say that you're hurt by it. But to take down art because of that, I don't know. It seems kind of.
Well, you got to remember, it's somewhat with the genre of country and folk that it's a little bit different. So,
Tell me.
I've written some songs they're pretty close to your heart. You got to not be afraid to put yourself out there with that kind of music. Mm-hmm. And then you go and you write, a song like "Hurt."
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's literally about the death of his wife.
That's the first one that I actually know.
Yeah, that was the first song I ever learned to play.
Yeah.
And
wow.
He you got something like that. And then imagine
I got you.
You're Johnny Cash and everything is that special to you because it's your music and that's where he writes from, and then you're just the fucking chicken guy.
I see it now. Okay. I think I am, because again, this is just the genre barrier of like, I know how maybe my inspirations would have responded to something like that, but we're dealing with something totally different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why, for rappers like Drake and Kendrick, they go into it because rap, I mean, any genre of music can be aggressive. Rap is kind of, not known for it, but it certainly has been aggressive. I mean, the perfect example is like, look at West Coast, East Coast with Tupac and Biggie. I mean, death happened, right?
Yeah.
Now we're kind of putting the microscope on the country scene now. Mm-hmm. I don't think death could have happened.
Well,
tell me, brother.
I don't know how much you know about the outlaw countries, but they didn't fuck around.
Please, tell me, man.
So I'll tell you this story, and a lot of people don't realize that the outlaws were outlaws for a reason. Mm-hmm. And you got an example of David Allan Coe went to prison.
Okay.
Hank Williams Jr. would shoot a gun at his shows.
Okay. Wow.
The best example of this is Waylon Jennings, though. Going back to Waylon.
The same guy who made fun of the chicken suit.
Bingo.
Hit me.
He goes and plays a show in this barn in the middle of nowhere. They pack the barn. It's a barn show, way back in the day. Show's over. He gets on the tour bus and he goes, all right, hold on, guys. I got to go get us paid. He goes, the guy's gone, completely gone. There's he's got his dick in his hand and he's got a whole tour bus full of people he's got to pay. He's just steaming mad.
For sure.
So he gets back on the bus and goes, give me 5 more minutes. He goes, all right. Waylon grabs a bag off the bus, goes back to the barn. Well, whatever Waylon did, he comes back and he goes, all right, fuck it, guys. We're not getting paid. Sorry. We got to get out of here. They drive off. They get about halfway down the road and the fucking barn blows up.
Okay, there you go. Okay. All right. Yeah, I kind of realized how stupid it was for me to assume that there wasn't death in there. I guess, yeah. I mean, totally. I mean, this is like, wow. Okay. Did he see any legal response to that?
No.
Careful.
That's hi, Lars.
Lars, what are you doing?
No, there was it was back in the day of old Nashville when you just kind of got away with shit like that. There was no cameras.
If you were able to leave pretty quickly and not have anybody that had a pair of loose lips on their face, then wow, yeah. I mean, even retrospectively, no.
So there was another instance, and I don't know if you ever heard of.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
It was this animated series called Tales from the Tour Bus. I don't know if you've seen it. Mm-mm. You should give it a watch. It's a pretty good series. Mm-hmm. There is a couple of country singers. I forget the guy's name particularly. He shot somebody.
There you go.
Right through the cheek.
Wow.
They throw Willie on there and they're talking about it and some other bass players and producers, and he ended up going to jail for not very long. I think he went to court and they knew, and he just admitted that he shot him right through the cheek.
Yeah.
But that kind of shit happened all the time. And it's it's pretty interesting. You can see some of the remnants of that now, where
Sure.
you look at Nashville police and they're pretty hard on the people there.
They've kind of cracked down.
Well, like
down on it.
a good example is like you would have, that shit going on back in the day, but Morgan Wallen throws a chair off a bar and the whole country knows.
Yeah. I saw, my algorithms aren't really tailored to country, but that one did make it through to mine. What's the story about that?
Morgan Wallen being Morgan Wallen. Apparently,
Yeah.
he was on the Eric Church's bar, was drunk with his buddies, and was just as one does when they're drunk, drinking with their buddies. Just being a little bit of a clown and launched a chair right off the top of the bar.
Did anyone get hurt?
No, thank God. That was the
Good.
good news. It just hit the curb, but they cracked down. They arrested him. He's been arrested a couple times.
Is that
now.
right?
Yeah, Morgan's been arrested twice, I want to say.
Because that's kind of, that's the difference now is, obviously there are still, the definition of a superstar in any genre. There are still superstars doing whatever they want. But I think we can all agree. I don't think it's happening as much as it used to, or it is, and it's taking more effort to get away with it. Because back then, when homie blew up the barn, all it took was just to drive. It was just to keep driving.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now, maybe a few more pockets have to get stuffed with some cash, because the amount of surveillance we have and everyone has it. I mean, back then, having a camera on you was something special.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got cameras on them now,
That's the problem. I mean,
right?
it's a good and a bad thing. It's
Exactly.
a good thing because
Yep.
you got all of these people coming out doing heinous things, and they're finally being held responsible.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
want to drop names for that, but it's pretty obvious who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Especially in the rap game right now.
Yeah,
And it's good and bad. I'll say it. I love outlaw country. I remember
Sure.
going to Plush Studios, and they're like, introduce yourself, and I go, I don't sing about tractors and trucks. I sing about fast cars and loose women, and it's like that's the kind of country music people like.
yeah.
But there's a lifestyle with that too.
Yeah, I think I think the general stereotype, like with everything, like I kind of think about it like this: if you take a 46-year-old woman, a 46-year-old mom who has never really like dug into anything music.
Mm-hmm.
When you bring up a type of musician or a type of artist to them, what is her first stereotypical response? So what I mean by that is, like, what would she say to you if you said, what's a rapper? What's a country singer? What's an opera singer, right? I think, that kind of stupid example I just gave would kind of yield, she might say a rapper or someone who likes to talk about guns and drugs and blah, blah, blah. And country, like you said, with the tractors and the wheat, but really you have subgenres out of the main genres. And then you have subgenres out of that.
I would go as far as to say that that's just stereotypes of an industry, and it is so person specific when it comes to that. Like, you got people that you can pull off the street. I'm sure you can go find some 60-year-old lady in an office.
Sure.
And she's like, man, I love Biggie, and it's like she knows everything about Biggie. It all just depends. I mean, it's not as easy as it seems.
Right. Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I knew there was stuff out there for the country scene. Just nothing I ever came across, really. Because and like I said at the beginning, it all sparked from watching all this Kendrick Drake stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, seems pretty. Wow. Well, you had said before we started recording that you had some stories. You had something recent or whatever.
Yeah. I figured
brother.
we should talk about what the music scene's like in Central Florida.
Oh man.
So I'll start with some good ones. I got partnered with this. We'll call him a promoter. It's called So Far. They've had Billie Eilish, Leon Bridges, and they came and they opened up a chapter in Orlando, and really great. I ended up playing this bar downtown called McQueen's.
I've been there. Yeah.
Super nice. You
Yeah.
know, they took all the chairs out of the bar. They put pillows down on the floor. They brought, a couple hundred people in, sat them down. It was like this really cool, intimate setting where I could talk about a song that I wrote, play the song, play some covers. Really good, really fun time.
That's awesome.
Super great company. Really can stand behind them. You know, I'm up there singing. You know, Elvis and the owner and his wife are holding, doing that thing, the couples swaying together, singing
Yeah.
"I Can't Help But Falling in Love," and
For sure.
it was awesome. That was honestly probably the best show I've played to this point.
That's awesome.
Then in the middle here, you got your your local spots. You got like I'm gonna plug a bar called Fiddler's Green. They've been real good to me. I've been playing there every Thursday for the last 2 years.
Awesome.
Little Irish pub, little grimy.
Fielder's Green. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yep. Is that the one that right when you step out of the front door, all of the roads in front of you are really weird. Like
Yeah.
you have to like go this. You have to.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Super cool. 2 years.
2 years.
That's a really good relationship. Have you been able to maybe kind of, after you play somewhere for so long and you build that relationship with maybe the owner and the employees, have you been able to kind of score any like for the lack of better terms, like any headlining kind of things? Like,
Oh, yeah.
dude, awesome.
Yeah, no,
awesome.
it's Central Florida, the music scene, especially in Orlando. It's all about who you know. There's going to be a lot of bars that they don't actively work with promoters. They don't actively do anything. They might host an open mic once a week, and you got to go in and play and show out. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's how you do it around here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is something I'm really passionate about. Why? Because I am someone who has been in it, been through it, done well. Certainly I certainly shook a lot of hands, and then just kind of took a step back, and there's Lars. Been through it, done well, and then I kind of took a step back and looked at myself and kind of thought, like, what's the long term, right? I looked at what I was doing, and how much of it I was doing, and I thought to myself, I am already forcing myself to write a song. Something's happening. It's Stockholm syndrome. It is. It's Stockholm syndrome, right? Because when you are told that this is what you are meant to do by so many people, and by so many people that you trust and believe, and finally when that one thought creeps into your mind, maybe it's something else, you freak out. You do.
We'll touch on this.
Yeah.
I want to talk on this pretty hard.
Please.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Of course I've been there, and I think everyone's been there. And it comes down to one thing and one thing only, which is, do you wake up every day and can you live a life without playing music and writing music? Are you going to be happy that way? And I mean, doing it for free at open mics.
How do you answer that?
Music is the sole thing that has kept me alive at some points in my life. I can't envision a life without it.
That's a really, really good question. I'm already doing that. I'm already doing that. I'm actually Trevor, I am the happiest I've been.
Then I think you got your answer, buddy.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
And it was really, really hard to come to terms with that. Why was it hard? Because again, right? So this is something that the listeners already kind of know, just my whole story with music, but the spark notes of it is, ever since I was little, everyone who's known me knew that I was good at singing. singing was the only thing that would stop my symptoms of my Tourette syndrome. I auditioned for some stupid little opera when I was like 8 years old. But then I got taken as an apprentice from the professor of opera at that college, and I studied and trained under him for 10 years, from 8 to 18. Vigorous rehearsals, opera, Latin, Greek, Italian. I am a classically trained and professional opera singer. You wouldn't know that because, I mean, how much opera am I doing down here in Central Florida, right? There is opera. It's not what I want to do, though. But it was what I was trained on, and those techniques carry, right? Like, that's why I'm as proficient as I am now, is because, I trained under one of the historically first fundamentals of music when it comes to the Renaissance era and something with love. The Romantic era in Italy, which is where my family's from. Like, it was like a total chance thing that made perfect sense. And throughout my life, obviously I had continued singing. I picked up instruments. Piano being like my second best instrument, singing being my first. And then when it was about time to graduate high school, like, I was like, okay, so I want to do something with music. What though? I'm good at singing, but I need to find a degree that's sustainable, that can find me maybe a career or a job on the back end of something. So I found this university here in Central Florida, all about music production and audio, blah blah blah. I said, okay, great. Like, let me get that degree and that education, because everyone back at home was like, why don't you go to the college that you have been an apprentice of for so long and go over there and study vocal performance? Well, even at the end of high school, I was like, yeah, but what's the longevity on that, right? I mean, what's the longevity on that for me? And I wanted to move. So coming to Florida, total change of character, and I really hit it hard. Started at the university, writing my own songs, performing, singing, covers, blah blah blah, doing plenty of gigs and shows and like really creepy places, like that one place me and you performed at that one time. Really awesome places like that same university in front of like 1,000 people, like super cool, and it was going really well. But I slowly just started to notice that it finally hit me that it seemed more like a chore than a want. It seemed more like a need than a want. Like, I need to be making a new song. I need to be doing this. I need to be doing that. Because if I'm not, Trevor, I'm failing. And if I'm not, I'm failing what everyone's been saying for my entire life. I'm failing myself. I'm failing the gift that God gave me, and that's why it was so intense. It was even to a God level in my head, that this was the gift that God gave me, and I felt like I was disrespecting him by not using it. And that's how intense it got. And the only reason why I got that intense is because I'm a man, and I don't talk about about what I'm thinking, right? And I would look at my music, and the music that I made on my own was always like kind of, sad, stuff like that. And it's just like I don't hate the music I'm making. I'm very proud of it. But every single time, it feels like something I need to be doing. And it finally clicked. Let's see, I've been working at the hospital for 9 months now. It finally clicked, I believe, maybe a month and a half into working at the hospital, which would have been a year and a half since I graduated from that college. And I remember working at the hospital, I was in one of the medical supply rooms that I was currently stocking, and I started just crying. I broke down, leaned up against one of the storage carts and just sobbed, because you have that job I had then, you were around people all the time, but it was an alone job. You know what I mean?
I know
Like,
exactly
I
what
could
you
just
mean.
put in my headphones, stock all of the needles and the gauze, blah 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 blah, right? So I had a lot of time to think, and this is the stuff I would kind of dig away at when I was working, and it finally got to me, and I started just sobbing, and I realized that, this shouldn't be like this. Like, I shouldn't be worrying that I'm not making music right now. If it was something that I was meant to do, I would just be doing it without thinking about it. And that thought terrified me, man. It terrified me, because my whole life I've been thinking that this was it, and then finally I take a look at myself at the time I was a 20-year-old man, and I was like, no, like, you need to be real with yourself. There's not and there's nothing wrong with you realizing this, right? Like, this is what's making you miserable right now, and you didn't even know it. And ever since then, and it took a lot of sleepless nights, but I finally gotten to a spot currently right now where I am my absolute happiest, and part of it is because of this podcast. Why? Because it's still audio, and it turned out that I kind of finally realized this is what I love. This aspect of it, and that I don't know if you believe in God, but I sure as hell do. And the fact that He sent me to the college that I went to, because I kind of realized I'm not going to go for vocal performance, but I'm going to go for something technical. I went there to treat that as kind of a backup to the singing, when the backup turned into what I actually fell in love with. This kind of stuff: entertainment, production, recording, audio, editing, mixing. And I've been doing this for 16 weeks. I work on this show every single day when I come home from work. And Trevor, I don't think about it. And I did with music.
There's a lot of points I want to touch
Right?
on that I think is really important for
Please.
people to hear. One is, first off, it takes a lot of courage to admit what you were feeling like that and tell a story like that. So props to you for that.
Appreciate it.
The second thing is that you can love music and not be an artist and still
course.
work in the music industry. And I don't think anyone
course.
understands that.
Of course. Yeah.
It's we all fall into this trap of social media telling us that we have
the
to
worst.
be the guy, and then
the worst.
the truth is that it's worse than the NBA. There's I go to a cattle call. I played in Nashville, and there's these cattle calls of 800 people, and there's 5 chairs on that stage.
Yeah.
Do the math. That's
Yeah.
pretty slim odds, and it's
Yeah.
and you go back and forth, and you're like, yeah, am I good enough for that? And that's always on my mind too. And then
Sure.
and that's kind of always in the back of your head.
That's
And
but that's the human condition,
for sure,
right? I mean,
Yeah.
that you could find that in the love you have for a girl. You can have that in the food you want to make that night. I mean, is this really what I want? Is this meant for me? Right? Yeah, totally.
It comes to the point where it is a long haul, and it is truly random to some degree. I've been blessed. I've been in some rooms with some Grammy winners that have had kind things to say, but I've also been in bars with people that have had some really shitty things to say. But I love my girlfriend to death, Maria. She has given me the utmost perspective. She was a child singer. She's done this for a long time,
Yeah.
longer than I have. And the truth is that everyone's opinion shouldn't really matter to you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to understand that. And I'll jump on what you said. Is the reason I say that is because potential is the heaviest burden to carry. It just is. And I the first week I ever started playing music, I was dog shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I was dog shit. I'll say I could barely sing a tune. I play in this little bar called Be Nice. I'll name drop it because it's closed.
Yeah.
some guy walks up and he goes, "So how long are you before you're gonna quit your job?"
Oh wow.
And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But at the time, you're just like, you're so excited. It's new and it's exciting. It's like,
sure.
oh my God, I'm gonna be the guy. And it's like, no, that's
Oh,
just
yeah.
some asshole that just said that.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
that burden is then, if you let it be placed on you, it will be. You kind of got to take everyone's opinion with just the biggest grain of salt, because words are words until there's some action behind them. Truthfully, the other thing I want to touch on is that it's okay to step away from music for a time too.
We had a little short intermission. The government tried to take us down because the facts that we were spitting were a little too hot. What were we talking about?
Gigs, passion, music.
Yeah, so I forget specifically what point we were on, but just in that little intermission, me and Trevor could not keep ourselves from talking because we are that much of bros, and me and him have heard a similar piece of advice that really pertains to it. You want to lay it out for them?
Yeah, it was on TikTok, and I saw it was a guy talking. You got three things when it comes to music and gigs. You can have the gig itself, you got the pay, and you got the hang. And you only ever can pick two of the three:
fun, money, or passion.
Yep.
Right. And you can apply this to a lot of things, but when it comes to music, and I think that's huge in it, right? And honestly, when and I guess I've never really thought about it in the terms of myself when I was in that when I was at that point just 7 months ago, when I was thinking about what I wanted to do. I guess when I look at it, I mean, I wasn't getting any money from it yet. The passion was there, but it wasn't enough. And I guess and because those two things weren't there, I mean, it was hard to have fun with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I've played, like when I play with my buddy Juan, like that's fun. Like the Spanish music that me and him make, there's definitely passion and fun to that. But I would never advocate for like the lone wolf bullshit, but at the same time, I find that in my 21 years on this earth, things always work out when you just do it yourself.
Oh hell yeah!
And I'm not saying that it's impossible to work with someone, and I'm not saying Juan was hard to work with. Juan is my brother. Me and him still talk to this day, even though we haven't done anything musically in a while. But it has nothing to do with him. It was just when I kind of stepped back and looked at it, I'm like, I am relying on people way too much. I feel like a burden to them. I feel like a burden to myself. So go into, you were just saying during our little intermission, what kind of things have you gotten up to that kind of nail it on the fun, money, and passion front?
Oh yeah, that's pretty easy. Like you start out right, and you play in your bedroom. Maybe you post a TikTok or two, and that's it. That's pure passion. There's no hangout, then there's no pay, and that's how you know you love something.
Yeah, for sure.
And then eventually you get enough courage that you decide to go play publicly, right? And
probably an open mic or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Maybe you're busking, maybe you're playing an open mic, and there's your passion, and there's your hang, right? Because it's however long you want to do it,
right?
I play open mics every week. People are like, why the hell are you still playing? To my girlfriend, she's like, what are you doing? You book gigs. And I'm like, I love playing
fun.
live. It's fun. I like playing to a crowd. I like hanging out with my buddies that come and show up every week. I got 60-year-old friends that are just drinking buddies because all we do is just go to these bars. I love it. You got two of the three there. And then you go and you book your first gig. Now, all of a sudden, it becomes a job. You got to negotiate this pay.
Yep.
How many hours you're playing.
Yep.
Some bars want a certain set list. And it takes away from the hang. It just does. And
Certainly.
it becomes a lot more, like you said, of a job. It's not nearly as fun. The passion's still there. You're playing live for people. You make some tips. You grow your audience that way.
But that's what you've got. It's the passion and the money.
Yeah, and I've been there.
Lost the fun in that specific instance.
I was in a band. I had people who opened for me, and I've had some of those relationships crumble. And I can tell because it was too much like a job. A good friend of mine was like, I just don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And then you just don't see them, and they're just not friends now because you don't see them as much.
A band, and ever since I started all of this, like my first day on campus 2.5 something years ago, I've been asking myself the same question. How does anybody make a band work?
That's why they're so
how?
special.
How?
Like, a good example is Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
They fell in love. They hated each other. They wrote songs back and forth. And it's when you have a band member, it's not only got to be your best friend.
You got to love them.
They have to be a family member.
You have to.
And they got to be a business partner that you can trust. Yeah. And they got to be an artist that you can respect. That's why bands are so special.
I mean, a lot of where my trust has fallen, as kind of fell off is, I bet you can say the same exact stories, but like when I was younger growing up, of course I tried to start things with friends and say, man, we're gonna make this happen, blah, blah, blah. I remember in like middle high school around COVID, I would have been like, I think I would have been like halfway through my junior year. I had started this little trio. I wouldn't call it a band because it was COVID. So we were making all of our music over my buddy sharing his screen over like Discord. And we were all making these songs and it was fun. The songs were actually kind of good for our age. We were sharing it with friends in the school. The school kind of started to kind of dig it. People were asking us about it. It was me, my editor Evan, and then this third guy, and things were going great. It was going. I mean, everyone was absolutely digging it. It was my first real experience with having music that I made that I'm proud of. And one day, out of nowhere, this third guy who had the software, who had all of this knowledge that I didn't have yet, he just sent a text to the group chat saying, "Hey, I'm kind of tired of this," and then left.
Yeah, I mean that's very similar to me.
And me and Evan were like, you're actually joking, right? I mean, dude, things were going so well. Like people were really digging it. People were saying we can't wait for the next one, and he just out of nowhere sent that text. And it was because of that little band. Like I was going through one of the worst breakups, and well, my only breakup at that time, and that's why it was so bad. My first ever breakup, COVID, and then this, and it was that little band that was like my last,
your lifeline,
my last string, out of nowhere on a random 4:35 on a Tuesday night, just snip, and ever since then, I have started to work with people. Like I have initiated, groups and group projects when it comes to music and stuff like that. But I have just been eternally conscious about it. And that same thing has happened to me multiple times since then, to the point where, yeah, dude, like I can't, like I really can't, like I will do something temporary with someone, but to commit with someone, every single time I've done that in my 21 years, it ended because the other person quit.
Yeah, that speaks more about your personality and your commitment to things, especially things that you love. So, if anything, that's a good thing about you. Just throwing that out there.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
But like, it goes back and forth. Like we have a clash of personalities in bands when we join them, and you know, it's the problem is that everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah.
And you got two kind of guys in a band. You got the people that want to be the front men, and they, you know, it's their band. And you got the guys that they're just there. They're there because they want to be there. They're there because they want to play their part, and they just enjoy what they're doing. And you got to ask yourself, you know, as someone who is a front man of his band, there are two kinds of bands. Okay, you got the bands where it is about the band. You know,
Okay.
Metallica had a band, but their front man, James Hetfield, was pretty important too, and he wasn't the, you know.
Right.
You got Lars, and everyone else can tell you who the members of that band are. There is no guy in that band, really.
Right.
There's kind of a front man who sings and plays guitar.
Sure.
But everyone else gets their respect.
Right.
And then you got solo artists with a band. And a great example is Tyler Childers and the Food Stamps.
Okay.
Name the drummer of the Food Stamps.
I didn't know the food stamps existed, brother.
That's exactly what I'm getting at.
Gotcha.
There's a certain personality you need to have a drummer behind you that is just unseen but heard, and he'll have input, but he's not driving the project.
For sure.
You can't have three people that want to drive a project at once.
Right.
It just tends not to work. It can, but
absolutely. You know, and I think a lot of those values were something that I learned when I was working with Juan. So me and Juan, and none of this is something that I don't want him to hear. This is real, and this is what you call a relationship. I mean, this could be romantic. This could be just work, right? But there were times when we were making something, and he would do something or like change something in the song or play it a different way, whatever. There were times where he would do that, and in my head I'd be like, damn it, like I don't like that. Or you know, crap, like, you know, he totally just changed the way I did it, and I really liked how I did it. Which again, I'm sure I did the same thing to him, right? But the only way you won't get that is if both of you are actually robots. I mean, right?
I'm going to take a hot approach and say no.
Please, please.
I'm going to talk about my guitar player, Ryan.
Yes.
Ryan and he was on my song I just wrote that we're going to play today called Off Your Stand. And we have a kind of a special relationship where I come in, I write the lyrics, I write the rhythm guitar, and then he respects that.
Okay.
And I lay out, you know, sort of the framework of the painting. And he is a solo guitar player, a mean solo guitar player. And I let him come in, and he just adds color to the fucking...
For sure.
To the color by numbers, the paint by numbers. And I respect that. And he'll play a couple of takes, and I just go, you know what? That's the take I think we should do. And it's just sort of unanimously, it magically comes to an agreement. That is a good example in my mind of two people that can work together.
Yeah, that's really good. You know, I guess I didn't give the point on why I was bringing that first example up. You know, like so yeah, no, that what you just explained is perfect. But you know, when I would work with Juan, when he would do something that maybe I had a different opinion on, every single time. And it didn't happen a lot, but when it would happen, I would stop. I would think to myself, you know, it is not just me. What's the give and what's the take? What's the give and what's the take, right? I mean, even at like work right now, me and my other coworkers are kind of going through this where me and him have to step back and say to each other. There are a lot of battles that we've won recently, and I look at my buddy and I say, dude, I mean, this is life. This is one that they're just gonna have to win, and I would have that conversation with myself. I don't want to control me and his music. It is our music. So if there's something that he does that I don't particularly like, I will think to myself, is this something that I can just roll with and be fine with it? Not because I'm accepting that it's bad, because it never was bad. He is like an incredible musician. It was more just like a personal thing, and I think you find that in like relationships too. Like
sure.
when your girl wants to do something and you're not totally on board, but you say to yourself, you know what? Just the other week she let me get by with doing this thing or whatever. You kind of think about that. But and I will just leave my point at this. It was never the opposite. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I will just say that. But yeah. So go into I guess I think I kind of lost what the main point we're talking about here.
You're good.
But again, yeah, working with people, you do stuff on your own, but just like you said, the song that you're going to be playing at the end of the episode is a song that you wrote with someone.
Yeah, so I take the Kurt Cobain approach to songwriting, and especially with when I have people behind me, which is Kurt would write a song on his own. He would write the chorus, he'd write the hooks, he'd write everything.
Right.
He had a guitar part, and he'd have the vocals, and he'd come in and go, "This is the next song." And that is something not everyone's okay with. And I defend that and stand behind that view, because when you have an artistic idea and you want to put it out in the world, by letting other people in is like putting noise into a signal. Like it's like putting snow on a TV back in the day. There's just more noise there. The original image is already distorted because somebody else has different ideas of what it should be. And there's some magic there where if you trust the other artist enough, that can make everything so much more better.
Absolutely.
Tweak the key, make the tempo a little bit more. That's completely valid. I think when it doesn't work when someone hears something and you write a sad song and they're like, "No, I want it to be happy," and it's like this isn't gonna work, buddy.
For sure.
But it's give and take. I want to say that you can't be a dictator. Nobody likes that. Like Mick Jagger was like a hard drive, hard line guy, but for a reason, because it was the Rolling Stones and they had something and they knew it was there. Yeah. I think you got to defend that, and you got to be able to hold the artistic vision, and then also to be trust from the other people that like, I'm going to steer the ship, but like this captain goes down with this ship, if this band fails, it's my band. There's a lot of responsibility there.
And that's why, and dude, you are totally right. When I ask myself, how on earth does a band work? These are the questions that come to my mind. Is you are dealing with so many different personalities and so many different experiences that you truly need to have a family and some brothers and sisters that you consider to be brothers and sisters that you're working with. But let's come back to current, right? Let's come back to the conversation we were having earlier about kind of, because, and again, this is something else I said during our little intermission. This, like all of this, everything that we've talked about so far, it's so important. And it's something that I wish I had, and something I wish I had heard when I had started, about like you brought up the point of like social media. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, you don't even see that in music. I mean, how many beautiful women are there who hate themselves? Seriously, right?
Yeah.
How many beautiful women are there that absolutely hate themselves because they go on social media and they see a girl who just posts a photo of her hand and it gets millions of likes because because people fawn over her looks and her when really she could be a horrible person. Yeah. How many bedroom artists are there that go into social media and see another bedroom artist, but this particular bedroom artist has millions of likes too, and you think to yourself, well, why am I not there yet? Like, well, I get that it's time, but at the same time, if I was actually good, if it was actually meant for me, then it would have happened by now.
I'm going to drop a bomb on
Please.
you. This is a controversial opinion.
Hit me, brother.
9 out of 10 bedroom artists are horrible performers. It's
Yeah.
a whole different art.
Yeah.
I love the fact that this is the
might
best
have
time.
used bedroom artists as more of like a metaphor,
Sure.
I guess let me replace that bedroom artist beginner. Let me just say beginner, because me and you weren't particularly bedroom artists
No.
at the start, but everyone is a beginner, and I think that's what I was trying to say. So say your point, but in the terms of a beginner comparing themselves to what they see.
It's the same thing as when a rich kid goes to college and a poor kid goes to college.
You're damn right.
Some people naturally can just sing their heart out. I've met people like that where they don't even know what vibrato is, but they're doing it.
Yeah.
And that's amazing and that's great. But the difference is that if you are an artist who's struggling and you put in the work and you put in the work and you put in the work, you will most likely be better than that person just off pure talent alone.
Absolutely.
Pure talent alone is worthless. You have to capitalize on what the natural abilities you have.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's okay to not be the natural singer that can go out and just belt melodies. It's okay to reel it in and to play to your strengths and to, if you got a Josh Turner voice, which is the country guy that lock your doors and turn them. Yeah. You're not going to go out there and sing Ariana Grande.
No.
But that doesn't devalue your music.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Absolutely. I mean, Einstein's
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, that fish is going to feel stupid for the rest of his life. And if the baby lock them doors, if he went to a cattle call for Ariana Grande impersonators,
Yeah.
he would feel like the most untalented person in the world. I mean, you are absolutely right. And that's why, and it is said time and time again, and this is the same reason why you feel bad for eating something sugary, but then the next day you're gonna want it again. Comparison is truly the thief of joy, and that's in everything. And it's really, really hard to tell someone new not to compare themselves, because they haven't. At least this is for me. Like, that's all I did when I started. Was all I did was compare, because I was already coming from a pretty low self-esteem at that point. But when I started, all I did was just look at other people and see what they were doing, and it's like, oh well, apparently they have it all figured out, so I need to do exactly what they're doing. And then 2 years later, they are not to be heard from ever again, and they haven't done anything musically and forever. And you think to yourself, why on earth did I compare myself to that person?
What's the difference between somebody who makes it and somebody who didn't in the music industry? It's a really simple answer.
Hit me, brother.
They didn't quit. It's that simple.
I'll be damned.
Actors say it all the time.
I'll be damned.
The ones that make it are the ones that never quit. And
Absolutely.
You got a good example. When do you think Tim McGraw started writing songs and singing?
When
What age?
probably, but somewhere between 4 years old and 37 years old.
Over 40.
Even in my silly answer, I was still wrong. Yeah. Wow.
The point of that
Okay.
is that there is no time frame for any of this.
That is great. Wow.
Toby Keith, good example. Chris, even better, Chris Stapleton. Crazy talented, good songwriter, wrote songs for just about everybody in Nashville, has more awards than I am years old.
How old?
He started in Nashville as a young man, and I think he played for over a decade behind the scenes, writing songs, playing local bars. Wow. And the whole time he was Chris Stapleton.
And why didn't he stop?
Because he believed the bullshit that he wasn't good looking enough and he wasn't marketable. And he didn't go out and try to become his own artist because of that. He never stopped because he just liked writing songs.
Yeah.
That was what kept him going.
Exactly. Man, this is all such good such good stuff. And you know, when I hear that, right, I think to myself, well, given everything that I've talked about,
Yeah.
with my personal journey, using that example, you could say that I quit music. But it's maybe this is biased. I certainly stopped currently to an extent. But I think I found it, and I found the love for it in other ways.
Yeah.
I did my first DJ gig last Friday.
Wow.
No experience. I have a very, very good knack for having my finger on the pulse of the current hits, and also not playing cheesy current hits. You know what I mean?
It takes skill.
Like oh, dude, like I remember when I was younger, I would see kids like that, kids who just every time they got the aux cord, they were just playing awesome music that people either everybody knew, and it wasn't a cheesy top 40. It was something that no one knew, and it was awesome. And I would always look at them when I was younger, and I was always jealous. I was always jealous because, I when I was younger, I was always a kid who was like getting bullied and blah blah blah. So I was always seeking that kind of validation. And when I saw the kids who just knew what their company would like music wise, I was like, man, like that's a validation that he's not even having to do much for, right? He's just hitting and queuing up some songs that people are liking, and people are like digging it and thinking, man, this guy's got a good choices, good taste in music. So since then, I've really kind of not even worked on it, but just paid more attention. And I did my first DJ gig. I believe it was last Friday. It was a grand opening for a new kava bar in town. The owner found me because I've been hosting an open mic every Sunday at this other kava bar. He saw me there. He was like, dude, the grand opening for my businesses on Friday. We would love it if you could come and DJ for it. I was like, yeah, totally. I was kind of nervous, but I got things ready. I got the board ready. I got all of kind of the music that I knew I wanted to play. And I believe it was like a 7-hour gig. And the first hour I was still sweating, kind of bringing my shirt up to wipe my forehead. And, but after that hour, I got really, really into it. I started really loving it. I found myself dancing, and halfway through, I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. Now, I gotta be careful, right? Because we need to be aware of the honeymoon period. Right?
Of course.
We need to be aware of the honeymoon period. I know that's where I am right now. So I would like to think that a good strategy for that is to recognize that you might be in the honeymoon period, the rose-tinted glasses period, and you have to think to yourself, what are some parts of this new hobby that you have that you've absolutely fallen in love with, that you are convinced will never go away. And I found some of those things for DJing, and I mean, just to name a few, it's just being the person who kind of controls the attitude, that feeling you get when you transition to the next song and people freak out when you nail a really good transition that only nerds will know that you did, and they give you that look.
Yeah.
That Trevor is what I didn't. That's what I was looking for when it came to performing, like traditionally. Now, I still got forms of it. People, I was, people complimenting me, asking where else do I go and perform. But something about DJing, there's less attention on me. And Trevor, I kind of like that. I mean, it's kind of silly for an artist to say I don't like attention, but and I kind of touched on this before we even started recording today, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this. That's one of the main drivers that kind of drove me away from it all is the vanity of it and the it seemed very like everywhere I would go, every person I would talk to for the most part, they were talking about themselves and acting as someone who was much more important than they actually were. And look, I'm not standing there judging them on like while we are talking. I'm just thinking about that in terms of myself, and I'm thinking, I mean, what would I ever talk like this? Or maybe if it's an artist that maybe their product isn't amazing, but it's not bad. But there's a difference between confidence, and then there's a difference between confidence and like this vain cockiness where they act like there is nothing wrong with what they're doing. And I'm not saying I should be the one to tell them that they're doing something wrong, but it just seems like you get what I'm
gonna go in on this one.
Please.
Remember how I said I was playing for a week?
Yes.
And that guy was like, "When are you gonna quit your job?" Thank God, truthfully, that I have my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because when people blow smoke up your ass and then they do it for weeks and then weeks turn to month and the months to years, people wonder how these mega artists are just delusional assholes and, you know, they hate everyone they're around and treat everyone like shit. It's because if you're in their shoes and people literally like kiss your ass everywhere you go, if somebody in your life doesn't check you, you're going to go off the rails. Or unless you're a very special individual.
Absolutely.
I got very lucky.
Absolutely.
Love of my life, have her. She checks me. She was like, you know, you're really good, but you have a lot to learn and you need to know that now.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And that's really important. And, you know, she got me into vocal lessons and she was like, hey, you have talent, but you need to work at it just like you did when you were an athlete in high school. Talent only goes so far.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately, people in this industry have some talent or they have some very early success and they don't tend to go anywhere because it gets to their head and then nobody wants to work with an asshole. You have to be personable. You have to be able to talk to people and be willing to work with them. And unfortunately, that's just how it goes.
Yep.
The other side of that coin is you're trying to do the impossible by becoming an artist in the modern era. Yeah. There is so much dilution of the market. There are so many other artists that you're competing against. Everybody with a cell phone can make music now. Mm-hmm. You kind of got to have that humble belief in yourself that I am the guy. And I know deep inside I am the guy and I have something to offer and it's good. Certainly. But you can't be an arrogant asshole about that either.
And that is the key. That's the key difference between very, very powerful confidence and cockiness. Mm-hmm. That's why a lot of the open mics that I had performed at, you know, every single open mic you do is important in some way. If the open mic if the open mic goes down in the worst imaginable way possible, I truly believe you are still walking away with something gained. If it's an experience of something that you've never had happen to you, if it's a new type of personality that you've never dealt with, if you walk away humbled, right? I mean, somehow, some way, I think every open mic is important, but when I got to a point where I would do some of these open mics that people were putting on weekly in like a hookah lounge that I would go and perform, I would go there and I would take it seriously and I had a good time, but I would look around me and see people treating it as if they are, if they are the 1%, and that they are celebrities, when I'm thinking of a specific example. I remember this one specific open mic. I did it once. It was
Yeah.
but I came back and did it, like, I think like a year later. Like, I think school was really ramping up and things were in the way. But then once my schedule finally cleared up, I saw that the person hosting it was still having it that week a year later. So they've been doing it weekly. So I saw it and I was like, you know what, it would be really nice to kind of see that crowd again. So I sent them a message and said that I was coming. I show up, and when I walked in, Trevor, it was the same.
People.
It was like nothing changed a year ago. Everyone in there is treating everyone like celebrities. Where when you're out, when you're in the parking lot and you're looking at that same building, you realize how small that building is compared to all of the others. And now I understand that, that whole kind of story and thought process, I think could be taken wrong. It could be taken in a way where I seem narcissistic, or maybe I am judging them for having a good time regardless of the size of the venue. But if you saw what I saw, and you saw how they thought of themselves, I mean, it seriously made my stomach hurt, because it's like, you are so vain that you believe and you treat people like you're a celebrity, when you're sitting in a business that hasn't seen 40 customers in the last 2 months.
It's
right.
If you are selling out arenas and you've got a Grammy and you've got 100 million listens on Spotify, I might not like it, but I can understand an ego of that caliber. Sure. Of course. I don't like those kind of people.
Me neither.
I'm not the best either. Sometimes we all get a bit of an ego.
Sure.
But I will never understand that these people that play the same bars every week.
You know what I'm talking about, right? There was this one kid who would always rock up, and I didn't even know his name. When he would perform, it was the shittiest rap you've ever heard. Just total dirtbag kind of, full flexing rap, and he would perform, but when he would come in to that place, and when he would leave and whatever, and even the way he sat, the way he talked to you, the way he talked to me, the guy who had the jurisdiction to kick him out, he would talk to people and act like he was worth $4 billion. And he would act and talk like his art and his rap and his music was something from Venus, like something no one's ever experienced before, and so heartfelt and so real. And he's such a troubled rapper, and this and that. And he would get up and he would sound like what my microwave sounds like when I am done cooking some noodles.
This is trite and it's been way oversaid, but
Please.
Authenticity is the single most important thing in any artistic endeavor.
Yes,
it just is.
Yes.
You don't have to play. You can lean into things, and I understand that, because marketing is a bitch, and you gotta make yourself marketable. But to go up there and act like something you're not becomes very apparent, obviously. And if I've meant anything, it's the undiscovered artists who are super arrogant are often the ones that are the most self-conscious the most.
The most self-conscious, and because they're so arrogant, they are making up for something like that self-consciousness, and that has an expiration date on it.
Yeah.
One day they aren't going to be able to be they aren't able to be going to an open mic and being that arrogant and putting on that character. Their gas is gonna turn up empty, and they have they might, I mean, maybe they have passion in it, but the passion's coming from that the arrogance. They think they're, I mean, hey, I think maybe the fun is the only thing that they actually genuinely have. Maybe. I don't know where the money would be coming from, but I absolutely, and again, bleep this, but so many people that came and performed at, you would have the reoccurring artists and musicians
Sure.
every single week that were good people. They did it because it was fun. They did it because their friends were there. They
Just want to get better.
They did it for the practice. They did it because they had a new track and was the perfect place to try it out at, to prepare them to try it out at an actual venue. But you had like the kid I'm talking about right now. You had him where was his only gig, and he would act like it wasn't, and that Trevor, to bring that point home, dude, that personality, those actions are, from so many other people, are one of the main reasons why it just, when I was doing it, I had such a sour taste in my mouth because I was tired of the vanity.
As someone who's gone and met some people of note in industries, they've worked with some big names.
Absolutely.
You notice something right off the bat when
that?
it comes to those people.
What's that?
They've never put their 10,000 hours in. Yeah. It's obvious. There are two kinds of people that act like that in the industry. I'm brand new and I'm an asshole who had a little bit of success too early. Mm-hmm. Or I'm John Mayer.
Yeah. John Mayer, I mean, he's not even 10,000 hours. He's
100.
Seriously. Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Like, there's a level of, I don't want to excuse their behavior because I don't agree with it, but I understand it. Where, like, Picasso would walk in and sign his bill. He wouldn't pay for anything. He just signed the check. I'm not going to, I never will defend a prima donna, but I understand why they act that way.
Absolutely.
It's obvious and apparent
Yeah.
that if you have that attitude, you've never booked a gig and have nobody show up. You've never done a door show where your money's coming from ticket sales and the 3 bar regulars walk in.
It's kind of like, like you've never been punched.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah. You've never been punched.
You can tell it's the same thing. It's like you've never actually had to be tested in music before.
You've never been punched. No one wants to be punched. Even the most famous, successful people. John Mayer doesn't want to be punched, but you need it. Oh, you to certain that these people were specifically talking about, like, they need a reality check.
They think that they're going to be one of 10 artists that happens every 10 years where there is no struggle and it's all the stars align and it's handed to them. But, like, you can name Lainey Wilson. Do you know who that is? The Watermelon Moonshine girl?
No.
She went to Nashville. They called her a camper girl.
Wow. Okay.
She lived in a camper for 5 years straight.
There you go.
She was just playing the local scene. That was it. And it took her 5 years, and she had Watermelon Moonshine, and she sat there and played it and played it and played it. And empty bars, and empty bars, and then eventually she got success. Yeah, you can't do that if you're an arrogant asshole because you burn too many bridges too quickly.
Yeah. I mean, bringing back someone we were talking about earlier, Kendrick Lamar is one of the most, like, he is a rapper, an artist in this current time that will be talked about in 300 years. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's from Compton, Yeah. I mean, come on. Come on. I mean, like, some of the most successful people come from the worst places. Yeah. And that's why. Because if they can endure going through that, then they can endure going through it when it comes to music. Like, like I brought him up earlier, the rapper Logic, right? Yeah. He gets kind of made fun of a lot. Mm-hmm. Whatever. He does have some good music, but, like, there was this video that I saw one time. It was like an older video that was shot on, like, a camcorder. and it was him in his trailer with the most like MacGyver pop wiggle dump setup with like his laptop on top of a stack of Apple juice boxes and this and that, and he couldn't flush his toilet without having to unplug his speakers, like just super like this wild environment that he called home, and he was talking to the person recording him like he was showing them the thing that he's most proud of, because he was showing him this and that and playing some stuff surrounded by garbage, by a living space that even strong people couldn't deal with. And he's talking about his music like it's the greatest thing in the world, because it is to him, and he got through that. And that's why when it comes to what you were saying, like someone was born rich or born into wealth and decides, Father, I think I might want to try rapping one time. And the dad's like, well, of course, Billy, let me get in touch with my boys down at the firm. And obviously throws a couple $1,000,000 to whatever record labels in that same city. And of course the record label says yes, because it's like 6 times the amount that they would actually make someone pay. Yeah. They give the kid a microphone and make him sound, amazing. Sure, that song could absolutely blow up, even if it is a good song. Even if it is good, it could blow up. But then, like you said, right? Like a Lamborghini can only make it as far as the gas that's in it.
Do you know what timeless music has?
What does it have?
Struggle.
Yeah.
Struggle is rocket fuel. And you have one of two options when you grow up in struggle. It either breaks you or it defines you.
Yeah.
And you're very hard pressed. I'm sure some examples, and I can even give some, of people who come from an environment that isn't struggle based, writing timeless music.
Okay.
The only example I can think of off the top of my head is Hank Williams Jr. His dad was Hank Williams. He was well defined.
Yeah.
He makes timeless music, and I defend that. But
yeah,
every great artist that I look up to, Tyler Childers, Queen, the Rolling Stones, Ozzy Osbourne.
All you had to say was Queen, man. I mean, talk about struggle, man.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, man.
Music that speaks to you comes from a place where that person has already felt it, and you're just refeeling their emotions again.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're getting at. Is like going back to those rappers, man, those cocky, arrogant rappers. It's like, how relatable is driving a Lamborghini, getting head down the fucking highway in Miami? It's like, not very. Yeah. It might have its time in the sun, but that song's gone in a month.
Oh my gosh, man. You are so right. And the vanity that I'm disgusted by is seen in so many other things than just how they act and just how they think of themselves. You just said it, like the things that they're singing about, the things that they're rapping about. Look, I am all about a party, like a party banger. I am all about a senseless song that means nothing, that has a freaking an amazing bass line that absolutely thuds. I am all about that. But yeah, man. I mean, even if it's the most optimistic music ever, I mean, there is some form of struggle, and even if that struggle is only coming from yourself, that's enough. And I think that's something that some of these people don't have, is that self struggle. Like people who are actually talented, like yourself, you think to yourself every once in a while really negative thoughts that you've gotten better at controlling, but still don't have a grip on it. And for one, that's just a human condition. But two, it's that inner dialogue that those trashy rappers that show up to the open mic, that's the type of dialogue that they don't have, and that is so foreign to me. That's so foreign to me. Right?
What I'll throw it out there isn't just rappers. When I was in Nashville,
like
just want to clear that.
We keep saying rappers because we're in Florida,
it's the big, and
we go to open mics, and that's all we see. But yes, dude, freaking singers, rappers, people who,
Instrumentalists even.
people who think they're John Mayer, but they can't even play a power chord. Like,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The difference is that you as an artist come to this fork in the road where it's like you got to learn to handle the negative thoughts and fuel from it and grow from it, or you just like it ruins you.
Yeah.
And I've been there where it's like, you know what the best thing for me at this stage in my career is?
Tell me, brother.
Eating a bag of dicks.
All right.
Just going on stage and bombing. This is a weird opinion. I love it.
Okay.
Because I will go up there and make myself play a song that I've practiced once in my room.
Okay.
And I'll just wing it. Okay. And it's because what you're doing is you're trying new shit.
Absolutely.
And you got to have that experience, that humbleness of like, this isn't going well, but I'm going to work my way through this live right now in front of everybody. And I'm going to grow from it and see what I'm doing wrong.
If no one's going to put the flame to your ass, then you have to put the flame to your ass yourself.
Bingo.
Yeah, like what I said with the venue that we were just talking about earlier, when I would invite artists who had that who had that integrity and that confidence, and would kind of question me for inviting them to such a small venue, but that's what I would say to them. I would say, you know what, it is a small venue, it is a bunch of hippies, but you know what that says to me, my friend? That says the perfect practice spot. You have a track that you haven't been able to nail down live. You have a track that your mom loves, but you don't know if everyone else is gonna love it, dude. Come to my open mic, and just throw it at the wall.
I don't get it. I don't get these kids. Like, it is one thing to post a 10-second clip of a song on TikTok and have it blow up. That's real easy. You can find 10-second gems and shitty music.
Absolutely.
But it's another thing to go up there live and say, I wrote this last week. Like, I do that all the time. I'm like, I wrote this last week. Here we go. Like it's kind of vulgar, but like, put your nuts on the table. Like, let's see how good you really are. Yeah. Like, the difference between somebody who's a 1% artist and just some Joe Schmo playing covers is that.
Dude, you totally opened up a casket that I had totally forgot. Okay. Okay. So when we would be at, bleep this, when we would be at the fun, because, okay. So everyone there knew I was the host.
Yeah.
And they kind of just knew after hearing me talk and me talking to them, like, I would like to think 3/4 of the room knew that I kind of knew what I was talking about, okay?
Yeah.
But not because I told them I know what I'm talking about. They just learned that I know what I'm talking about. So when people would ask me for advice, which happened here and now again, just kind of small things, how did I sound, blah blah blah. The one thing that made me the most pissed off, and not because, okay, when someone would go up there again, like, just, I'm still thinking about the same kid.
Just, you know what? Just bleep this for us. Just say it so I know who you're talking about.
You don't know his name? No. No, seriously, it is no one that you know. You have probably seen him once.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know his name. But he would just keep he would just keep coming. And I didn't know his name. Why? Because he never would introduce himself to anybody. Again, I mean,
That's brutal.
He is the perfect example of what we are talking about. So people
let me before we throw him under the bus.
Please.
I've met people that are brilliant artists, but they just don't have that personable side to them. Yeah. He wasn't like that.
No.
Like, he wasn't just off in the corner, I played my set, thanks guys, hi, and he just sat there. He was walking around and he just wouldn't introduce himself, because that's next level arrogant.
Yeah. So yeah, we are throwing him, like, I am throwing him under the bus, but no one knows who I'm talking about. He doesn't know I'm saying this. You know what? I do not care. Something that him and every other person like him would do when they would come and perform at that spot is they would hit play on the track, which always had the lead vocal on it. Pisses me off. Take it off. But would always have the lead vocal on it, and they would say, I like for real like just like wrote this in the car like when I was sitting out in the parking lot, or like I for real wrote this last night, like literally never even like practiced it, like this is just off the dome, or like literally just like produce this beat in the car right now, like with my eyes closed, you know, and I had about 7 pairs of socks stuffed down my throat just so I could just so I could feel what it was like to be putting my freaking thumb to the fire. And you know, they would say that, and they would go, and I remember telling this to one of them. I remember saying this to one and I've only done this once, because this wasn't even that one kid. It was someone else who acted this same. But that kid said that same thing, but to me, like one-on-one, and I said, yeah, it sounded like it.
Oh fuck! Hey, a good artist would be like, "Yeah, man, I know I bombed." Like the difference between comedians and musicians is like it's a close resemblance, but not quite. If you bomb as a comedian, everybody looks at you and goes, "Man, I don't know what to tell you, but that fucking sucked."
Yeah.
As a musician, you'll still get the soft claps, and everybody will be polite because it's a little bit different.
Of course, because it's because like music. Okay, so like I am still hosting an open mic currently, right? At this other spot, and of course, like I still get people who go up there, and I kind of have to force the crowd to start clapping. It's not that they are bad people. It's not that person's a bad person. It's just not there. You know what I mean. So, but the reason I say that, and you that is a perfect comparison with comedians. Is music is known to be emotional and personal. Comedy can and usually is that, but music is like socially emotional and personal, and it is socially known as a brave thing to do, to go up there and perform. So that's why pity claps happen with music and not comedy, because when it's music, it's someone going up there and saying, I have something very emotional and personal I want to sing about, and if it's not good socially, I know that everyone in the crowd will at least please me with a few claps. Whereas comedy is like you're going up there and you're saying to a room full of people, "Hey, I'm the funny one."
Yeah.
And even if I'm not cocky, I'm still coming up here and saying I'm the funny one, and if it's not good, the audience uses that as a way to kind of step on the person that could be funnier than the person in the audience.
There's a couple of things I want to touch on.
Please.
There's like 4 points there.
Please.
First one, this is an interesting thing. Absolutely. If you play really, really touching, emotional, sad songs, okay, you will just have crickets at the end. But you got to understand, this is a seasoned artist thing, in my opinion. That isn't a bad thing.
Dude, you are so right.
And I don't think people understand that. And I've been in that position where I'm like, fuck, that was good. What the fuck's going on right now? And I'm looking around and like, I've seen this. People go like this. They wipe the tear out of their eye and everyone's just looking around like, damn. And it's just like, well, that's what that music's supposed to do.
Hey, it worked.
But caveat, you're a rapper. You're up there. You're getting in the lane of comedy, man. You're supposed to get people up there and moving. Oh, man. There are rap songs that are sad, but
either move or either moving, or I think you can still get that silent reaction. Mm-hmm. But I think the difference is the silent the good silent reaction that you get with a very emotional singing. Mm-hmm. For rapping would still be kind of silent, but because rap is inherently energizing, no matter how sad you make it, like the beat or whatever. I think at the end, rap's version of that would still be silent, but with like a little bit of like people being like, damn, you know what? Damn, you know?
That's right. That's the difference. It's like when there's pure silence at the end, it's because, you know, when people really aren't listening, there's some chit chat, there's some glasses clinking, there's like a minimal amount of noise. When there's pure silence, pin drop, everyone is listening. You have every ear in that room. Yeah. And I've seen that ruin some really good artists because they get so it's just like, oh shit, fuck, and they just walk off stage.
But then, dude, oh my gosh, you are so right. But even then, that same artist walking off, like, why are they all quiet? Why are there even them thinking that is kind of an issue because it's like, why are you worrying about it?
Do you know what's even better though?
Hit me, brother.
You need one homie in the crowd. You need one guy after that kind of a performance that just starts absolutely hammering claps. And then the whole bar erupts.
Yep.
That is like heroin. That is the best feeling.
Yep. As an open mic host, I try to be that person, but the difference is I don't have there is a connection that homie has with the performer that I don't have.
Yeah.
I'm clapping and trying to get people to clap just for the sake of the performer, kind of break the awkwardness. If it comes from the homie though, that's real. That's real. Yeah,
it's
absolutely. I've never thought about that. Just like performing an emotional song, like no clapping and everything like that. Like sometimes that is that's exactly what you want.
When you listen to the sounds of silence, either the Disturbed or Simon and Garfunkel, do you want to cheer at the end, or you just sit there and it's like an emotional weight has been taken off you, and you're just like, fuck.
I think for both of them. And this is the first time I actually know exactly what songs you're talking about. I think for both of them, I will be clapping. Mm-hmm. For the Garfunkel, I think it's just clapping. Yeah. I think for the Disturbed, depending on maybe how they perform it, and maybe if there's some more visual elements to it, I will still be clapping and maybe like yeah, well, you know.
Do you know what I say when you watch a movie and it's so good? Like Oppenheimer did this to me, where your jaw just kind of hangs open and everyone's just dead silent.
Cars.
Yeah. the anime. You got me for a second. I was like, hold on, maybe that's some childhood story I'm about to get.
Not for real, guy. Like, yeah, dude. Like. Yeah, but totally. Like the movie ends and it's like it was so touching.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't even touching. You do you know the movie Requiem for a Dream?
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I have plenty of film bros who've told me about it. Like that's some intense stuff. Great movie. You wouldn't be clapping. You would probably be doing the same. You'll probably be doing this. For example, a recent movie, Civil War by A24. Have you seen it?
Haven't seen it.
You definitely definitely should. That was one of those movies. I will not spoil anything about it, but when you see that title and you see the imagery, you think of the pretty generic response of hearing of a movie of Civil War. But by the end of the movie, me and Brittany, because we did an episode of Cafe Critique on it, we were both sitting there like, damn, you know, like that was absolutely incredible, but it doesn't deserve a clap. It deserves my silence and my thought.
Yeah.
And that's
still good art.
Absolutely. Totally.
I'm going to pivot us into another point. I have to make this.
I can't wait.
As artists and communities and bar owners and venue owners, we need to save the industry. And this is a hot take, but I'm going to say it.
Hit me, brother.
You're not allowed to have vocals in your goddamn track when you play it. It's not karaoke. You're an artist.
If a new version of the Bible were to come out and I had a hand in it, that would be one of the verses.
Do you know how much shit Britney Spears got for lip syncing her songs?
Yeah.
Do you know how Nickelback and Rockstar makes a joke about that? They're lip syncing their songs so he doesn't get them wrong.
Yeah.
How can you go out as an artist that wrote something and not perform it? I will never understand that.
I mean, yeah.
Even if you're Kelly Clarkson and you're singing some vocally taxing song that's just crazy good, crazy high with vibrato, and she's screaming,
you got to do it.
Either do it or just do what Freddie Mercury did and just bring that note down a little bit
Sure,
and
yeah.
save your voice. It's still beautiful.
If you are good enough as a singer, as you show that you are, then you also like, okay, to a very less extent, but like when I perform, I perform a lot of like Michael Bublé and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When I'm singing his song, feeling good,
Love that one.
the very very end, I have probably only once sang it in the. I've probably only once sang that last line in the original notes because I think my voice was feeling really really good that day. I probably drank some tea and I was feeling good. But like even like I performed it last week, and like I've only once stuck with the original notes. Every single time I just live transpose it because I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna I'm not gonna stand up there and strain myself and sing the original notes, but do it poorly and then think to myself, I did that right. No, like
It's
even though I'm a good singer, I know when I sound like crap. And if I strain myself, then I absolutely know with my extensive background and training and hours in the opera house, I know when I hear myself and I'm like, I sound like shit.
You got good days and bad days vocally.
course.
I've been there plenty of times. Like,
Yeah. So that's a really good point with the lip syncing. You have the lip syncing, and then you have what you see with our own eyes as we go to certain places. You have so like, let's say I'm hosting the open mic for that small venue we were talking about earlier. I started being really strict about this. Why? Because even though it was a small open mic, no one knew about it really. We would get a pretty good crowd some nights.
50 people plus, easy.
But I would be a stickler, even with that one loser that we were talking about. I would say, is the lead vocal on or off of this track? And when they would say on, I would say, do you have one where it's not? And they would, if they said no, I would say, that's fine. But next week, I want to see you with the lead vocal off of it, because even if I don't like the person, even this kid that we're talking about, Trevor, I still want to see him do better. And I still want to see him come that next week and for him to come up to me and say, dude, he's like, yeah, dude, I took the lead vocal off of the track. I kept some of the harmonies, but like I took the lead vocal. Even though I can't stand him, that would still make me smile, because I knew he's getting one step closer to having a legitimate performance, even if the art itself is not great.
Social media has allowed everybody with a passion to make music. But the downside of that is it has driven the professionalism outside of music.
Absolutely.
When you've decentralized it that much, and
Absolutely.
I'm pro that. I'm pro not gatekeeping people.
Of course.
You should be able to make whatever you want.
Yes.
You get some really unique artists that way. But you're losing some of that. And then I don't think we as a community of artists have understand what that does to venues.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to go hire somebody who's a bedroom guitar player and has some songs on TikTok, there's no, and then I should also clarify, this is very specific just to Central Florida. You can go through so many people that'll go and perform and they'll get paid a lot of money, and you're like, damn, that's like bad. And I'm like trying not to be a dick, but like, no, it's bad.
Absolutely.
And you go to a town like Nashville, there's a cattle call of 800 people. You get one song, you get 90 seconds, and you better show the fuck up.
Wow.
That's professionalism.
It is.
That is the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is exactly why, even for such a small venue, even when I would be on the mic getting the night started, I would also say it there, because, you know, even though it's a small venue, it would make my heart happy to see some of these people practice some professionalism. Now, you listening, you might not do music. What are we even talking about, right? So there are three, like, if we really dumb it down, there are three ways you can perform a song, right? You can either sing it with your own voice, with the instrumental version of your track. You could sing it with your own voice, but sing it over just the song itself, which is horrible. And then you could lip sync, where you just play the song itself and you mouth the words. The first one is the goal for every single person on this earth. The other two, you cannot get away with lip syncing. You can get away with the second one, but only if, for some reason, if you really, really need that lead vocal that you're going to be singing on top of, which is going to sound crazy because now it sounds like two voices. The only way I would agree you could get away with it, if you get a version where the lead vocal is just turned down a lot, and maybe you use it as a guide. I don't know. I still don't like it. But it's that kind of like when people like, again, this one rapper, when he would ask me why, right? When I would tell him, bro, especially with rap, bro, you have to take that lead vocal off because I'm listening to two lead rappers right now and you are not keeping up with, like, that one take that you recorded will always be like perfect in the sense of it will never change for as many times as you play it, but you live, you will always change. So now you are finishing words a little bit sooner, a little bit later. You're taking breaths at certain spots that mess it up, and now it's super crazy. And these people would ask me, you know why? I would say, dude, because if you're just gonna play the normal song that's like on Spotify right now, and you're gonna sing over it, what's the difference of me sitting here listening to that and me going to my car right now and just listening to it there? And they would be like, because I'm singing it. I'm like, but you're not singing it, because you tell yourself you're singing it, but when you get up there, you use it as a crutch and you say every other word. And then another response that I would get, and I think you're gonna laugh at this, is I've had those same people say to me, when I try to explain to them to take off the lead vocal, they would say, but like all like the famous rappers do it. They would be like, dude, like Lil Yachty, like his song plays and he just kind of like says the words over it. Okay, first of all, you are trying to win this conversation with seems to be your trump card, Lil Yachty. You've already messed up. Second of all, Lil Yachty can do that because he's Lil freaking Yachty. He can. Yeah. I like some of Lil Yachty's music. I don't care what he does. He's already there. You're not. And Lil Yachty's only there because he proved his talent during times like you're in right now. So now Lil Yachty has the luxury to just ride off of that. But Lil Yachty, to use the term we were using earlier, Lil Yachty got punched. Okay, he got punched a lot, and if you keep rapping over just the normal song, you are not learning anything.
And I don't think those people realize that sometimes that's just load management. I'll throw an NBA term out there. Like, you're out there doing 4 concerts a week for 52 weeks straight.
You got to find a way
you're managing that
to keep yourself not.
You're a singer too. You can't do that. It's just not possible.
Even to keep yourself physically healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not doable.
And you know what, kid? You are not there. I want to support you, no matter how horrible this person is. I want to support you to make you feel confident enough that you'll get there. But if you really want to feel that way, then you have to act that way, and you got to take the lead vocal off. Because again, what's the difference of just me telling you to get off the stage and me hooking my phone up to the sound system and just playing your song? dude, that is such a great point.
But there's even a time and place just for that. Like I've gone to these Event Plus studio where it's just called Pass the Aux, and what you do is you.
Oh yeah, that is totally different. Like you are. I wouldn't even.
It's not even performing.
It's not.
You make your song. You go in front of producers and you go in front of a label
and show it to them.
And you're like, here you go. It's just an avenue to get your music out there.
You want to.
That's fine.
You want to see what my final product looks like. Like you could see it. You could see it live, but you want to see what my final product looks like. Here you go.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
It's a double-edged sword.
Absolutely. Earlier you said you had some stories. Now let me ask: Are these stories music related or just some stuff that's been happening to you recently?
Music related. I got some really good ones. So we started off with some good ones, right? With some of my best times.
Yeah.
Let's go to some of the fucking just earning my stripes time.
Oh, dude, tell me.
So one of my favorites is this is my second week playing music.
Okay.
I'll just say his first name. Andrew, my buddy, was on stage.
Give me a time frame. When was this?
This would have been 2 years ago, roughly about July or August.
All right.
It's the summer in Orlando. It's nice and warm. People are walking out downtown.
Yes.
You know, Orlando has a bit of a homelessness problem sometimes, unfortunately.
Yes,
you know, I feel bad for those people, but we're in an outdoor bar. And my buddy's on stage, and this homeless lady, I'm not going to speculate. She might have been on some substances.
There you go.
Walks to the bar, asks for a drink. She gets her drink. She, mid-song, starts screaming, just, fuck you, you suck. Just screaming everywhere.
All right.
Turns around to me and goes, spitting everywhere as she's talking. Like,
Good.
just spitting everywhere. And I'm just, like, taking a step back. She's like, doesn't this guy fucking suck? She walks up, goes to steal the tip jar.
What?
And he kind of goes like that. And she goes, oh, okay, it's not going to happen. The bartender jumps over the bar. This is a Be Nice bar. It's closed now. I'll say it. It's a coffee shop now in Eola. And he jumps over and starts chasing her right out of the bar. Well, they had these nice little sidewalk games set up. They have this mega size Connect 4.
Sure.
She starts taking the pieces and throwing them everywhere, throwing them over the bar,
Like
knocking
some serious,
chairs over.
Like
Tripping.
Tron.
She was just tripping.
Tron shit.
Yeah. And she trashes it. Trashes basically the whole damn bar. And this bar maybe seats 20 people. And that was my second week playing music. That was a gut check. That was like, holy shit, this is what it's like to play music.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
That's pretty.
Shit, I love this. I'm still doing it anyways.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing that something like that happens to you in the beginning, because cliche, but it can only go up from here, right? I mean, there are worse things that can happen. I know. I will not be naming the venue, but there was an open mic that I was at where the place cleared out in 5 seconds because a gun was seen.
Yeah.
So, like, and I was there for that. I was one of the first people who saw the gun.
Let's talk about that, because I heard secondhand. I wasn't there that night. I want to point that out. What happened? What's the chain of events? I heard it was a comedian involved. This is a good story to tell, I think.
It is such a good story to tell, but my friend, I don't know if it's too soon.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Let's statute of limitations is a thing. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, right. I mean,
yeah.
I think maybe this is episode 16. Maybe we're on episode 30 or 40. I might be able to say it. I don't think anything would happen if I said it, but
yeah. Let's do clear.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I got another one.
But I mean, yeah. Then like that situation, I was not just in. I was like I was in the center of, and I was getting tables flipped at me from people like vaulting them and jumping over, running because there was a gun. So yeah, I mean, and that like things like I don't wish any of this stuff to happen to someone, even like a homeless lady playing Connect 4 incorrectly, and the whole thing with mine. I don't want people to have that stuff happen to them, but if it does, like Trevor said, you are earning your stripes.
I'm gonna defend that.
Tell me.
You need to earn your stripes. You
Fair,
need to play the gross bars, the cockroach bars.
I don't want to be the one to say, I hope that happens to you.
I do.
Okay, fair.
I will say that.
Fair.
I think the artists that
Fair.
went from playing on the street Ed Sheeran
Fair.
did that. He talks about that. Every good artist I've heard of
Yeah.
does that.
Fair.
That's how you learn to control an audience.
Yeah.
It is so much harder to play for an audience of 20 people than it is for an audience of 2,000.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You got to be looking everyone in the eye.
20 people is personal, and 2,000 people is a statistic.
It's easier to get them going. It's
Yeah.
easier to make them cheer.
Wow, man. What else, man? What other
So-
stripe stories?
This is the ultimate stripe story, in my opinion.
I can't wait.
We talked about cockroach bars, right?
I don't know if I know what you're talking about, but
so-
I could imply.
So a cockroach bar, I'm writing a song called that exactly right now.
Solid.
It's just you go into this bar, it's smoky, there's ashtrays on the table, you know.
Is
there's-
it like the
there's-
one place me and you played that one time?
No, I don't think
Are
so.
you
This is,
are
I'm not
you
going to
sure?
name this place.
Because do you know what I'm talking about?
Bleep this. Go ahead. Oh, I've played there too.
And that's what I think is a cockroach.
That is a cockroach bar, not the
yeah.
one I'm talking about.
Okay. Worse?
Hold on. I'm not going to drop names because
Don't.
I love this bar. I will continue to play at this bar. Some of my best friends I've met in music play at this bar.
I cannot wait.
I have not mentioned this bar so far. I just want to point that out to the audience. Don't go looking it up. I am playing the open mic. Haven't been there in months. I book this place regularly. Okay. It's one of my favorite spots.
Okay.
You know, owner's super nice. One of the highest paying places, ironically,
Solid.
in Orlando.
Probably why, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on stage.
Okay.
Okay. And right before I go up, my buddy looks at me and he goes, "You see that thing on the wall? And there's a cockroach.
There you go.
The size of my thumb. Huge. Huge." We go, ha ha ha, real funny. It's a gross bar. Anyways, everybody loves it, you know. I'm having probably one of the best sets I've played in 6 months to a year. Honestly, just fucking killing it. And that's it. I'm such in the vibe. My eyes are closed. And I'm just feeling the music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
In the zone.
That zone where the art is speaking.
I'm up there. My eyes are closed. And I feel sweat drop down my side right here.
Good.
I'm like, holy fuck, I'm working up a sweat. I'm really getting into this. And then I go and I close my eyes and lean my head back and sing a note. And then I feel sweat run down my arm. And I'm like,
You're sweating.
I'm sweating down my arm that way as I'm flicking my arm, playing my pick.
You're sweating.
And then I look down, and that same cockroach had crawled up my leg, up my side, around my arms. And at this point, people in the bar start screaming. And I'm just like, oh my God, they're really into this shit. Fuck yeah. And I looked down and the cockroach crawled over my fingers on the edge of my guitar. And I went, holy shit. I dropped my guitar mid-set and I went, dunk, and it played an awful note. And that was when I was like, you know what? I've earned my stripes. I've put my 10,000 hours in, and I played in a cockroach bar and had cockroaches crawl all over me.
The
literally.
fact that it got onto your guitar, that's like the start of a Disney movie.
It
that
literally
is-
was. It was perfectly on the headstock on my capo. Oh. Right as I looked down, I just saw it. It was like huge.
Where you're from, did you have cockroaches?
Hell no. It's too
Me
cold.
neither.
It's too cold.
Me
We don't get 'em.
neither. Thank you. You and I reacted the same way when we saw our first cockroach. Like I saw my first cockroach in my first apartment, and my first apartment was like it was 10 times nicer than this spot, and I have not seen a single bug in here.
Yeah.
But in the really nice place that I was at, because I had roommates, so it cut the rent down by a lot. I had all these glue traps I set out, and I think I would check the traps every Saturday, and each one would have at least one cockroach in it.
If you're a musician moving to Florida from out of state, cockroaches are inevitable. I feel like I should just say that.
It was a totally new thing. I had never.
They're just everywhere.
And God forbid, and I hope I don't jinx this, but like I have seen probably one cockroach in here, and it was the smallest one I've ever seen, and it was in one of my glue traps. Like, and I've been in this spot for a good solid amount of time. So what would you rather have? Okay, would you have rather had the Connect 4 homeless lady tip jar happen again, or the cockroach? Like, which one would you have
Easy
rather
answer.
had?
Cockroach. After that, I get off stage, I sit down on the bar and I go 3 shots of Knob Creek for me and the boys.
I mean, people were probably laughing.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. As soon as they saw me, it was funny.
My gosh.
And the bar comped my tab because of it. He felt bad. He was like, "Here you go, buddy. $4.
Oh,
4
man.
drinks, $4. There you go."
There was one. I can't think other than the firearm incident. And I've probably had another bad one, but there was one I can specifically remember thinking while I was up on stage, like they do not want me here. So it was me and Juan. We were playing a Fuoco Fuego set. Mm-hmm. We did all of our songs. Me and him were getting into it. No half-ass performing. Full vocals. Juan is shredding. He's spinning the guitar around his body. He has this thing where he plays it with his teeth. Like we are going in, and it's at this this. I believe it was either a Mexican restaurant or a Colombian restaurant, but it was a Hispanic restaurant. We are performing Spanish music. Mm-hmm. When I get dressed up for these Spanish gigs and I don't tell you, I look Hispanic. I look white Hispanic. That could be Puerto Rico, Colombia, or Mexico. Sometimes that's where some of the palest ones. Argentina.
Yeah.
Really pale, right? So I could pass as one. But dude, Trevor, me and him are up there after the first song. We end. I think it's like 60 people, all couples and families eating, older people, like not even older, like mature wives and husbands, and this is their night out. Mm-hmm. No kids. They have every reason to just relax and enjoy the music. And we get done with the first song, and no one claps. And me and Juan are like, I'm looking at Juan. I'm like, so many of these things have happened to me just in life that my first response is to smile.
Yeah.
So we end, and it was almost like someone hired everybody to not clap. Like, no, seriously,
I've been there.
It was that quiet, and I'm standing up there and I'm thinking to myself, like, it's okay if they don't like it. And it's not the most amazing music, but it's good. And I'm looking at Juan, and Juan's like his eyes are looking at me like, "Hey, bro, like, what do we do?" And so I kind of, all right, guys, thank you. La canción próxima, the next song we're gonna be playing is this and that, blah blah. It's called na 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 na. We're playing it. Me and him are trying to get more into it, and everyone's still just straight face. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what war did they all fight in? Because they all have this 1,000-yard stare. They seem like fun people when the music isn't playing. The music is playing, and they're all just watching us. And I came into this gig thinking that this was going to be one of the better ones because it's just Spanish music. It's a Spanish restaurant with a bunch of mature Spanish people, and I thought, Juan, we are gonna nail this, and we did not hit a single clap. We played 4 songs, and I think we got 1 round of pity claps, all because our friend who was kind of like the host for it, it wasn't an open mic, it was a gig, but she was kind of like mediating it. Like, we only got 1 round of pity claps because she was the homie. She was one who kind of started it, and I got off, and this was the first time that my dad and the first time that my grandpa have seen me perform my Spanish music live. So let me tell you what's going through my head. So, dad and grandpa. Mm-hmm. Central Illinois, all they have done in their life is farm. Dad is pretty open minded. He's like just a lovable kind of farm, like country farmer kind of dude who's always just, he's like, I'm down. Yeah, sure. Grandpa is still getting over the 1940s, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they come down and visit me, and it just so happens to line up with one of my gigs, which I was like, okay, cool. But then I looked at the calendar and I saw which gig it was, and it was the one gig that me and Juan were gonna do at the Spanish restaurant. And this isn't just Chili's. This is like a Spanish restaurant where if you have a homie that's Hispanic, only they know about it. Like it's like a deep cut. There's no English in there. So you've got all the normal crowd, and then here comes the Dooley family. We got my dad who's in like a Chicago Bears zip up and like jeans with some like New Balances on, and then we got my grandpa who has an infinitely stained flannel that only has 2 of the 6 buttons buttoned, the 2 being the ones down here.
The very bottom.
With boots on, just a random watch, and his giant rimmed glasses. And he has like half of his vocal cords, so he's like, you can understand him, but he's like total old farmer dude. And my grandpa is walking up in there, like everyone has a gun pointed to him, because he's like, there's all these Spanish people, and I'm just like, and I'm just kind of like, dad's helping me out on that front. They sit down, and he's like, they're DJing right now before the performers start, and grandma, all this super loud fast music, all this Mexican music, because for people like him, Mexican is an all encompassing term.
It's just everything,
right?
Yeah.
And I look at my grandpa and I say, Grandpa, believe it or not, back at home, this would be odd. But Grandpa, you're in their territory now. Mm-hmm. You are the foreigner. And I said that to him. And he was like, okay, all right. And he was quiet for the rest of the night. When he would order a beer, he would be so loud on purpose, like not knowing English meant you couldn't hear. He was, dude, it was so bad. Oh my gosh, I wanted to leave.
That's tough.
And this was the first time ever that they've seen me perform my Spanish music live. Doing Spanish music was something I was already intimidated to do, because it's something I never thought that I would do. And now, after like a year of doing it, this is the first time my family's seeing me do it. So this is their son, who's done opera his whole life, who's been classically trained, who's doing this and that, and now they're seeing him with a very flowy button shirt with rose print all over it, with red dangly earrings and shiny red boots and black jeans, perform original music that's all in Spanish. And that was the first time, Trevor, that I had actually been nervous to perform.
I get it.
I performed so much I'm not nervous anymore. That was the first time in a long time where I actually was nervous. And I get up there and I'm going, and we get the audience like that. No clapping, no praise, nothing. And I'm up there looking at my dad and my grandpa. Like they're the only ones that are kind of like, but dad, they don't want to be obnoxious. They don't want to be the only ones like, whoa, But we did 4 songs. We got off, and I went up to Dad and Grandpa, and Dad was like, not their night, huh? and that, I think, even though it wasn't bad in like a Cockroach Connect 4 way, it was bad. It was bad.
I'm gonna say that's worse than the cockroach story.
Yeah?
Yeah, because they're and to this day I get this way. When my girlfriend's there, or when my dad showed up to one of my shows, the stakes for some reason just get that little bit higher.
but you know why?
Because you care with their opinion.
Of course.
Yeah, and it's
They can hear it on Spotify all they want, but here they are face to face.
Thank God my dad is a cool biker guy, because I was just in there slamming shots before I got on to get rid of. That's my secret.
Attaboy.
2 to 3 drinks, I'm good to go. 4 to 6, it's bad. 8 plus, I'm Hank Williams Jr. up there.
Fair enough.
Sloppily singing, but it's
A chair's going off the balcony.
yeah.
Yeah, mine. But that's what's so special about my dad, and I feel like it's the same with yours. Even though like my dad has nothing to do with Spanish at all.
Yeah.
When I first started doing it, he was like, "That's like that is cool." Like he didn't understand any of it, but he even would he would find out who my favorite Spanish artists were and like get to know their music.
Really?
Yeah, like
Wow, that's
he
pretty
still
special.
doesn't understand what the hell they're talking about or what it's about, but he sent me a photo of him drinking a beer, and the beer was a Miller Lite X J Balvin sponsor. You know who J Balvin is?
I sorta, not really.
Like my favorite reggaeton Spanish performer, musician, singer. Like he is my inspiration when it comes to doing Spanish music. And Dad sent me a photo of him. He said, "Hey, saw this at Walmart. Knew you loved J Balvin. I will save you a bottle for when you come home next time." Like he doesn't get it, but he loves it.
You should support it.
Grandpa is another story. He would not even touch that beer.
Yeah?
He would be like, it's just not right. Miller Lite's an American,
Yeah, that's
So yeah, dude. But dude, I think I mean these stories, I agree with Trevor. They have to happen to you.
Yeah.
Do you? I have something crazy that happened to me. And, we will wrap up after maybe a few more talking points. But it is not music related. It is girl related.
Okay.
And it is the wildest. It is the wildest thing that has ever happened to me when it comes to girls. So I will tell it here. I've actually, dude, I have had 2 of the craziest girl stories this past week from 2 separate girls. All because the beautiful, beautiful mechanisms of online dating. So I will tell one here. I'll tell the longer, more personal one. Not even personal, but the more emotional one on probably next episode where it's just me. But let me set this up. So I match with this one girl, and I don't get a lot of matches. Okay, not a lot of guys get a lot of matches.
Yeah,
it's a buyer's market. Girls have 6,000 likes, guys have 6 likes in the same amount of time. That's just how life works. So I get this match, and the girl is pretty, says that she's a Christian. That's like the one thing that I always look for. And then once I see that, then I know green light. Everything checks out. Good to go. We start talking, and it's kind of just flirty back and forth, really just normal stuff. And she finally asks for like my Instagram. I'm not really all about. I would rather do the phone number than a social media. There are some benefits to the social media though, like you are about to find. Like you get to know the person before you get to know them, so you are kind of prepared for the first date. But at the same time, if the first date doesn't go well, I don't want that person knowing what I do. Because if you just keep it to the phone number and you call everything off and don't see her, she will never know how to find you for the rest of your life, because the dating apps don't even do last names either. Although with my first name, it's gonna be kind of easy.
You're a bit of an edge case, buddy.
I mean, she's gonna lose me among all the other Celestinos there are in Central Florida. But yeah, so I say, fine. I throw her the IG. She throws me hers back. We follow each other, and she sends me a message. I think she like is looking at my posts and grabs one of me like in a suit or something like that, and then like sends it to me. And she said like hey famous or something stupid like that. And I'm like, hey, and we're talking. She has no posts, zero. And I kind of joke about it with her. I said, hey, you're stalking my page and I can't stalk yours.
Yeah.
This is unfair. I'm kind of being light with her, and she's saying, oh, I'm not that much of a posting person. I just kind of use it as like put stuff on my stories, blah blah blah.
Okay, I guess.
I was sure.
Was she tagged in anything? That's the real question.
I couldn't see anything of her.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she had highlighted stories. Well, I guess I did not look at the tag thing.
I'll give you a word of wisdom for the future. Go to that tag, see if anybody else is.
Yeah. But no, I mean, she had some highlighted stories, but it was all of either her face or her dogs. So I'm still not getting. I don't know what she really looks like. I don't know what she's into. I don't know because that's what I'm looking for when I find it. When like a girl gives me her social media, like, okay, what does it look like she's into? What does she like to like? What where is she? Where does she like to go? Blah blah blah. How does she present herself in the public? Right? Is she modest? Is she not? Just things like that. The only thing I see is her bio, and in her bio, she has that evil eye emoji. The stupid
the purple
blue,
devil. Oh, the
blue thing with the eye, and it looks like a blue eye.
Oh yeah,
that thing.
Yeah,
and I don't know how much you know about that crap, but that's a part of like the whole you're praying to rocks type of thing.
Oh.
So instantly, I'm like,
red flag number 2.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't even red flag number 2.
No?
That was like, I'm out. Like I was just
wow.
No.
Okay.
I was like, okay, like that's how kind of like when you're in the rainforest and like you see like a really really bright frog.
Oh,
you know that's not the one to touch.
It screams, I'm dangerous.
Same thing. It's like nope. You say you're Christian, sister. That's not. That's not
some wicked.
That's
stuff.
not Christian. And even if I didn't care if she was Christian, hey, if you're listening to this and you practice that stuff, look, all power to you. But I'm gonna stick with you making fun of me for believing there's a big guy in the sky. All right, I'm gonna stick to that. You can stick to praying to rocks. All right. So I see that I'm like, okay, I'm obviously not gonna entertain this, but I'm still gonna be nice. I'm not just gonna be like, all right, bye. Which is a fault of mine. I should have just done that because again, there's no emotion to this. We just met on a dating app, but again, I don't want to be a dick. Sorry, Mom. I don't want to be a dick. But I see that, so I'm like, okay, now I know how to do these conversations. We share a few more text bubbles, and then she sends me a text saying, hey, just a heads up, I'm kind of on here just to like look for friends. I'm not looking for that commitment, like relationship stuff, but so yeah, I hope you're okay with that. If I didn't call things off because of The Rock, I would have been like,
flag number 3.
what's the point? That's like if Dale Earnhardt Jr. went to the freaking Indy 500, showed up, and it was like, I don't really feel like racing today. That's why you're here. That's literally why you're here.
Or at least you should have just been more upfront with that. Like if that's what you want, like that should be like the second text. Like, hey, I know we met, but like,
dude, forget about that. Put it on your profile.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm like, why? Okay, I'm like, all right. Luckily, she had the poisonous tree frog already, so I I already knew that I was out. Her sending that text just solidified it. So I responded to that message like I said, all right, cool. I just started to text super dry. I said, all right, that's fine, and I sent that. I didn't send anything else. She didn't send anything else. This was Monday. So now it's like, if I'm not trying to pursue her, I'm not gonna put any effort into this.
Right.
In fact, I'm gonna put no effort into this because this is useless. So I just leave it be. Friday, this last Friday.
Yesterday.
Friday. Yeah, you're right. She shoots me a message on Instagram and she says, "Hey, just because I friend zoned you doesn't mean you can just leave me hanging. If you were going to be bothered by that, you should have said that." Trevor, follow. Okay, Trevor, follow.
What the fuck?
Trevor, follow me here, all right? If I had a gun, Trevor, and I pointed it right at your foot, and I pulled the trigger, and I had a 22 go right through the top and out the bottom of your foot. What she just said to me would be like when you would turn to me and scream and say, "Oh my gosh, why did you just shoot me in the foot?" That's like me saying, "Whoa, dude, if I knew you were gonna get mad at me for shooting you in the foot, you probably should have said something." Like what? What am I?
Sometimes it's better to let sleeping dogs lie.
The sentence.
It's just
again. I screenshotted it because I never want to forget this, Trevor.
Yeah.
Just because I friend zoned you doesn't mean what was it? Doesn't mean you have to be a dick or something. My jaw was on the floor.
Sometimes in life you'll meet people and you'll be like, "Damn, I dodged a bullet." And then sometimes you'll meet people and you're like, "I dodged a nuke to the forehead."
My jaw
it sounds like the second
was
one.
on the floor.
Yeah.
So let's say I didn't see the poisonous tree frog. Let's say she didn't send that first text of "I just want to be friends." Let's say she just sent that. It's like I no matter who you are, that makes no sense. Just because I stabbed you through the chest, why are you getting like that is actually getting mad and upset is actually the scientific reaction to getting friend zoned.
I don't even know how to touch this
Right?
because it's just like,
So
she was like trying to talk to you, but putting you down, but also like acting like you were a friend, but you weren't her friend. And it's like what kind of mental gymnastics?
Exactly. Like she has to have something in her brain wrong to, you don't even know who I am. Why are you mad that I'm not putting an effort to get to know you better when you have denied me the one reason we know each other?
Yeah.
Boom. Right?
I mean,
it doesn't end there, dude. It gets even crazier. And when I say crazier, it's not like it keeps happening. I'm saying it gets crazier. So I send her a message back, which again, I should have just left it, but I'm someone who likes to. Okay, when I see signs of something like this happening, I'm on episode 16 now, right? You know what comes to my mind? That is a topic for the podcast. Like that, my whole life has turned into that. I will embrace crazy situations because I know I can talk about it on the podcast. So I sent her a message and I'm saying, I said, I just kind of like what I just said to you. I said, like, why? I said, like, why would I work towards something that I didn't even come here to find? Blah blah blah. You know, it doesn't. You know, like, why does it matter? I'm not trying to be mean to you, but at the same time, it's like how you must have actually nothing to do or work on if you were getting upset that some random dude that you friend zoned isn't trying to get to know you. Okay. So I said that stuff, and she said, like, okay, whatever, fair. And I left it at that. That night, after work, I go to the cafe to work on stuff for this.
Yeah.
And my buddy Adam is there. And Adam, he's a pretty confident dude. And I'm kind of close to him. So I feel like I can talk to him about this. And kind of, because I haven't asked anybody yet what they thought of it. Like, he was the first person that I told this to. And I was like, hey, dude, I got a question. I want you to be honest with me. Like, just read this and tell me what you think. Mm-hmm. And he basically said exactly what I was thinking. He said exactly what you're thinking. So by the end of us talking, we kind of, we dapped each other up, and I said, all right, cool. Boom, block. He was like, all right, yeah. He was like, yeah, perfect. Like I also would have blocked her. And again, not like I'm blocking her, not because her existence hurts me in some way. It's just like, I don't even want the chance for this conversation to start again.
Yeah.
She means nothing to me. And for some reason, she needs me to talk to her. So block, dude.
Drop the bomb.
So that night, I think I'm laying in bed, about to get up to get ready for bed, just on my phone. And I get a message. Okay, let's do a little Jeopardy here. Sorry, stop. Let's do a little Jeopardy here. All right. Okay. I get a message last night, and it is from her. Now
on Instagram. No. How'd she message you if you blocked her?
Just think, right?
Okay.
So I have unmatched with her on the dating app, so she cannot find me there.
Okay.
I have blocked her on Instagram.
Okay.
She cannot find me there.
Okay.
She doesn't have my number. She cannot find me there. So what kind of notification do you think I got what kind of notification do you think I got last night that was from her?
I'm going to geek out if it's on something like Letterboxd, like a movie review app, or it's like Yelp or something goofy.
It is just as goofy, but no.
It's not on social media, right? I assume.
No.
Reddit?
No.
I don't know, buddy. Lay it on me then.
Last night, I get an email out of nowhere.
Get the fuck out of here.
I get an email out of nowhere. And I look at the header of the email, and all the little notification bubble is showing me is the start of a sentence that starts with hey, I don't know why you blocked ... It's waiting for me to open it. Mm-hmm. I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I'll be damned. Is this what I think
this is getting weird.
I open up Gmail, I log in, and I go to it, and it's an email from her. And the email reads, "Hey, not sure why you blocked me. I would really appreciate it if you didn't talk about me on your podcast because all because I friend zoned you and you got pissed. Why else would you block a female that was just trying to be nice? You are very, very weird."
How did she find your email?
Trevor.
Where is your email even publicly available?
Do you understand how big my smile was when I was reading this? Do you understand the irony of not just, before she sent that email, I already had this story about her in my notes app for this next episode.
Are we sure this wasn't a scam, or I'm just going to throw that idea out there?
Dude.
Because that's the level of dedication that it's like hard to believe it isn't someone trying to scam you.
If it wasn't a scammer, then if it was a scammer, mm-hmm. the Instagram account wouldn't have highlighted Instagram stories.
Like real stories over a
Real
long period of time.
Stories from a long time ago of random bad quality videos of dogs and her doing whatever. If it was a scam, then it like that level of personal detail to an Instagram account is something that only a real person would care about.
Okay, I'll take your. There are some scams that are pretty sophisticated where, like, I hate to say this, but people will target other people they know.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying this is what the case is, or either that or this girl is. Not doing too hot.
It's like I have a pretty good radar for scams. Even like when I get followed by Instagram accounts that I think probably half, like 50% of people would fall for. I would be like, no, like you see how that's fake, right? Do you see that there are two spaces in between those two words,
right?
Which means this was copy and pasted, and who else would copy and paste a bio other than someone who's trying to make multiple accounts as fast as they can?
Yeah.
So nothing was, no radar was being triggered. And I get an email, dude. An email from this girl saying, "Hey, why did you block me? I would really appreciate it if you didn't talk about me on your podcast." So there is one more thing to unpack about this, Trevor.
Okay.
The Instagram that I gave her was my personal Instagram, the one that you have, the one that
everyone has, yeah.
that all of my friends have. Nowhere on my personal Instagram do I mention my podcast.
Oh fuck! I didn't even consider that. So she
I
stalked
have
you.
One post, and it is the third most recent post of just the cover art. Right now, the cover art just says Something Cafe. Not Something Cafe podcast, not a podcast by Celestino, Something Cafe. The only way you would know I have a podcast would to be if you looked at my posts, you saw the Something Cafe, you thought to yourself, what is that? You tapped it, and then you read the description of that post saying, hey, this is my new podcast.
I think you meant the female version of Jeffrey Dahmer, potentially. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I think the reason I still have a heartbeat
is
a little
because crazy.
So this is what me and my buddy came to when it comes to how and why was so she probably Googled me. Mm-hmm. She probably remembered my last name from before I blocked her on Instagram. Mm-hmm. You can find me on Google because I have a very specific name and I am verified on Google. So if you do look me up, like I have that official page, blah, blah, blah. So, but everything else is public but my email. What links do you see when you Google me? Well, first you have my Instagram, which you can't have. Mm. You have my Spotify, which my email isn't there. You have my Apple Music. My email isn't there. You have you have my Twitter. My email isn't there. There are multiple. You have magazine articles that are written about me. My email isn't there. The only link, and it's far down. The only link to a service that has my email on it is my LinkedIn. So what I think happened is after I blocked her, she was so pissed off about that because finally someone with a penis denied her of the attention that someone with a penis normally would give her. And I'm not there for that. I'm not there for the physical. I'm not there for... I am there to find something, and if you're not gonna give it to me, then bye. I am not giving her the attention she wants. So she, after she sees that she can't find my Instagram, she finds a way to track me down and message me. And I really do think that she had to find my LinkedIn. If you have to go to LinkedIn, you should already be submitted to a psych ward, then to find my email, then to send me an email saying, please don't talk about me on your podcast. And guess what? I am. And you want to know why? Because I never said your name. I never said anything specific. There is nothing wrong with me doing exactly what I'm doing right now. And I've thought about everything. You hear me? I've thought about every possible thing that could have happened from this. And I win every single one. And what's really going to happen is simple. I'm talking about you. I was planning on talking about you before you even told me not to talk about you. And guess what? I'm making money from it. And I'm making money from talking about how crazy you are. You emailing, smoke signaling, crazy little rock praying little woman. And I'm not even gonna say bitch because my mama's listening and I'm a gentleman. Send me another email. That happened to me last week.
Jesus Christ.
That is you. Tell me that is not unique.
I think many men have been in a similar situation. Many women have been in a similar
Absolutely.
situation. Like I said, sometimes you dodge a bullet.
Sure.
Sometimes you dodge a nuke.
I dodged World War III.
Yeah,
So-
that's not good. There's some mental health problems
I
going out
really,
there.
really want to meet.
Shout out to you. Hope you get some help.
Hey,
And
dude.
just wishing you the best.
Maybe delete Gmail. Clearly, that's the app that you want to fight your battles on. Keep doing it. At least put a header. And I would appreciate if you put a signature at the end.
No header.
Just formal stuff.
No header in an email.
No, zero. It was
Oh, that's not
just
good.
the
That's not
text. No dear person involved. No sincerely crazy person. No. I'd like to see a bit more format from you. You can try again. I know you're listening to this. I want you to try again. Send me a better email. I want to see some more structure to it. Let's see if you can top that one. Maybe that one will get to me. I don't know. But I think you should try again because I know you're listening. And it's gonna make me more money. So keep going. All right.
Easy, Lars.
Lars attacked Trevor, and that is a perfect time. Dude, thank you so
You're more than welcome, buddy.
Thank you so much for coming on, bro. We are going to have Trevor perform one of his originals once this episode finishes, but we will do the outro now. Thank you for coming by the Something Cafe. My name is Celestino Dooley, and you can find the Something Cafe on I think most streaming services now. I know we are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Podcasts, and iHeartRadio Podcasts. You can find Something Cafe and Cafe Critique, my second show under the brand, on all 5 of those platforms. Follow us. We post the best parts, all of these shorts on all of these social medias, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. Trevor, thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to put all the links in the description, but go ahead and shout out your stuff.
Yeah, so again, my name is Trevor Knox. You can follow me on Instagram at Knox, KNOXTREVOR. You can find some of my new music should be streaming soon on Spotify under that same name. Find me on TikTok at Trevor Knox Music, and we're good to go. Thanks, Lars.
Absolutely. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, thanks for Lars for toughening up Trevor just a little bit more before he goes to Nashville. And like always, my dear listeners, thank you so much, and especially you crazy email sending woman. Thank you so much for grabbing a cup and stopping by the Something Cafe. We will see you later.
Thanks, buddy.
Well, I don't know where I will go, but I know I can't stay. loved you in a way. So I go my separate way, but it's not like you would care in a way. So don't let me run away. Why don't you get down and beg me to stay? But I know I'm not the man to make you come to the altar stand. So this earth alone, hoping that one day